Welcome back. Welcome to you all. It's actually like raining. It just started raining as soon as we started recording another episode of the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select with me, Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
And there's nothing I love more. I can't wait for the seasons to change in this dumb state where it's summer for a million years.
Seasons?
Yeah. And like, I think that because we're recording this, it's starting to get close to Halloween. I think it finally might be about to change into late fall. We don't get the beginning of fall. We just go from like the tail end of a hot ass summer to like the end of fall and then winter right away.
We get like 2 weeks of fall.
Yeah.
And then
and 2 weeks of spring.
And we get winter if we're lucky.
For like 3 months, 2 months.
And spring happens for like a day.
Yeah.
And then go straight into summer.
And it's just summer forever. Which, you know, considering that I hate the heat, I should have moved out of this dumb state. I did move out of this dumb state, and then I moved back because all my stupid friends, you all need to move out of this dumb state.
Never.
I'm not the one staying here. Well, let's all move to Seattle, Washington, and where it's rainy and cold for 9 months out of the year.
That's tempting, just so I could wear a Green Arrow outfit the entire time I'm there.
Okay, I think you're losing sight of the real reason we're moving. It's for my...
Oh, to me, Tom Hanks is what you're saying.
No, it's for my pleasure. It's you all need to move for my pleasure.
So we need to find Tom Hanks together is what you're saying.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
Meg
saying...
Ryan, then? Is that who the other one is in Sleepless in Seattle?
No, I don't know. I don't watch these movies. No, we need to start one of those horrible petitions that doesn't ever work on the internet. A change.org petition. It's for all my friends, me and all my friends to move out of this fucking blasted sand Tatooine state up to some place where it's not garbage all the time.
Well, the tortillas won't be nearly as good.
Well, we can learn how to make them ourselves.
That's fair.
We can learn how to make them ourselves.
We'll make our own restaurant.
That's right.
That's a Green Arrow themed.
Yes. I'm just going to open a decent Mexican food restaurant in like the Northwest.
Good luck with that.
And be like, hey, guys, here's what actual tacos are like. So anyway, yeah, that's got to happen. But I'm glad that it's raining because it means that hopefully it won't be hot as shit this weekend.
No, it should. It's not supposed to be according to the 10-day forecast.
But do you know what the worst part of me and this is that I want it to get cold so that there's not even a chance that I'll feel guilty just staying inside and not doing anything.
Oh, okay.
Which I do all summer.
Yeah.
I stay inside with the air conditioning, but there's something so much better about when it's really cold outside and then when it's really warm in your house, so you can just be like, yeah, I'm playing Death Stranding.
Like good.
Yeah. So anyway, welcome back, everybody, to the Rage Select podcast. You know where you are. You know what you're doing. It's Sunday.
You know the choices that made you get here.
That's right. you have made those choices. We got a real show today. We got some chills and some thrills. We got some spills. We got Star Wars. We got Bethesda. We got all kinds of stuff.
Bethesda, my God. We'll get to that though.
Yeah, I almost feel like this week Blizzard was like, Todd, do something, Todd.
In case of emergency, break glass.
Yeah, it's just the Todd phone. But before we get to that, any of that, let's see.
It's shaped like a Skyrim dragon.
I watched all that Living with Yourself Paul Rudd show.
Oh, yeah.
I finished that up. Really good. Just 8 30-minute episodes. Paul Rudd is eminently charming. It's kind of got this like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or kind of like Maniac. Did you ever watch that kind of thing where it is a little bit heavier than your average Paul Rudd thing, but not super heavy?
Oh, okay.
And for anybody who doesn't know, this is literally the premise of the show, is that basically through a course of events there end up being 2 Paul Rudds, and
it's kind of like that Rick and Morty episode with that clinic thing.
Oh, where they go, yeah, and they get all the bad feelings.
It's very similar to that.
It's kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, the premise is kind of like that.
But I'm gonna go with my general adage of like, you already bought Netflix, right? So like it's on Netflix,
and it's got Paul Rudd in it.
So watch one episode. If you don't like it, you can just stop watching. You can just stop watching it.
Just watch Mac and Me. Paul Rudd would be cool with that.
Yeah, and go watch. You can watch anything else. Other than that, I didn't do a hell of a lot last week. I was playing some games. I mean, like, I feel like I could talk about how much I love Gundam Battle Operation 2,
it's
but
so much fun, guys.
We've already done that so many times. So
RSC, guys, join that clan, bro.
Yep.
We need
did you do anything interesting last week?
I'm trying to think. Well, I didn't really do too much. Like, I went out for a little bit. I went to the Round Rock outlet for the first time in a long time.
You came off you had a week vacation. You had a staycation, right?
Yeah, I had a staycation because it's the first time I've ever done anything like that.
Yeah.
And I just spent the day just playing random things. I played a bunch of Metal Wolf Chaos.
See, that's the thing is you're so random with your gameplay that you just come back and be like, I played Greedfall and I could tell you about what was good about Greedfall, but you were like, you keep coming over here and you're like, I played like 20 minutes of Arkham Knight and like 45 minutes of Arkham Origins and like
that's kind of what happened. I beat Arkham Origins and then I beat its DLC and then I played Arkham Knight for a while and then I played Dead Space and then I played the Goose Game for a little bit.
Okay.
I then went back to Metal Wolf Chaos for a bit. I started Doom again.
Finish the game, Michael.
I started playing Spider-Man again for a little bit too.
Oh my god!
I had a lot of time on my hands.
Well, yeah.
I also watched a bunch of BoJack Horseman.
Okay.
To get ready for the new season.
You just rewatched the whole thing.
I tried to, but I made it to like the middle of season 3.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of other things I wanted to do in between.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Gundam.
Yeah.
I made it back to D+, both the space and the other one, and I lost it. Because that game is a fickle motherfucker.
It is. It is.
But yeah, I did that for a while. When I went to the outlets, I bought some new shoes. I bought 3 Dragon Ball Z shirts.
I am shocked.
Because they were on sale.
I am shocked.
And I bought my nephew a Donald and Mickey plush, which they will have opened by the time this podcast comes out.
Well, there you go.
So it's not trick. I'm not giving away anything.
I'm trying to I'm actually trying to I haven't heard any thunder yet, but I'm tracking there's a lot of lightning out there right now. I'm really worried.
You missed that thunder from earlier then.
I'm really worried that the power might flicker. Wait, no, we're recording on the laptop. It's got a battery in it. Ha! Suck it.
Suck
Nature.
it, Todd Howard. Todd Howard's trying to sabotage us.
That's right. That's right. Todd Howard heard he ginned up the Bethesda weather machine.
It's powered by Skyrims.
It's powered by copies of Skyrim.
Every version of Skyrim is plugged into it.
Just a bunch of beefy guys with no shirt on, and Todd Howard's like, more Skyrims. They're just shoveling Skyrims into a big furnace.
That's funny because they had announced a while back they was going to make like a manga based on it, and I was like, they ported Skyrim to mangas? What's happening?
I think this might be the first year, for Christmas we always play Skyrim, and I think this might be the first year where I'm like, I don't know if I want to play Skyrim this Christmas.
That's fair.
I think I have another option that might work just as well.
Oh, I caught up with My Hero Academia as well.
Because had you not watched all the way through season 3?
Well, I didn't caught up in that season 2 one for a little bit.
Oh,
or not season 2, season 4.
Right.
Because
there's only 2 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Well, 3 by the time this comes out. But
yeah, I'd forgot, and so I forgot to watch the second one. So eventually, I went back and watched it, and I'm still reading the manga.
Okay,
which is also real good.
Yeah, I feel like you need to reduce the number of things, but
this is why I don't watch a lot of TV lately. Oh, I watched the new Bob's Burgers as well.
Okay.
I watched the new Treehouse of Horrors for Simpsons.
I watched that too. It sucked.
It was okay.
I watched it and I was like, oh, I hate The Simpsons. That's right. I don't know. It was just
I thought it was okay, but
reference.
But I saw some really bad ones not too long ago, so I think maybe I was just giving it the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's talk about this new Star Wars trailer, because we got a new Star Wars trailer. The Rise of Skywalker trailer. Yeah.
Look at that lens flare.
It's JJ's back. So, okay, can I tell you my biggest worry? We'll get to that away. Trailer looks fine, right?
Yeah, trailer looks good.
It's a bunch of, Destiny is coming.
Destiny is coming. It's free to play.
Someday we'll all know what it's like to be friends. I mean, you just pick any schmaltzy one-liners, and it's just that behind Star Wars music with a montage of a lot of cool-looking stuff.
Yeah.
And it looks fine. It looks fine. I'm one of the people who didn't hate The Last Jedi. And I liked the idea that it was veering off in some batshit crazy direction.
I also like The Last Jedi.
So the fact that we seem to be going back to kind of schmaltzy Star Wars. Okay, fine. We were actually doing some speculation, but
we speculated all up in this bitch.
We're not going to talk about it right now. The thing that I'm most worried about, though, Michael, is this, right?
Is that Mark Hamill turns into the Joker?
Yes. we all remember that J.J. Abrams is shitty at endings, right?
Oh, he's absolutely the worst at them.
We remember J.J. Abrams' track record on ending things is poor. So
he likes making mysteries as well and not telling anybody what the answer is.
Yeah.
Like, everyone gives The Last Jedi shit for saying that Rey's parents weren't anybody.
Right.
But J.J. Abrams was just like, here's the mystery. And the guy was like, so what's in the box? I don't know.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. And then just fucking left.
Yeah.
Do what you want is what he said. And then he left.
So I'm worried about that. The other thing that kind of is weird is that there's such a sense of finality to this trailer about like the end of an era, the end of this trilogy. And I'm like, I keep forgetting that Luke and Han and them, right?
Yeah.
There were only 3 movies, but there were like infinity spin-offs,
so many of them,
stories and games and Christmas specials and all kinds of stuff. So it just feels to me like Rey and Finn and Poe and them just got started, and they're just like, this Christmas, it's the end of an era. And I'm like, the era that started like 5 years ago? I mean, what?
Yeah, she basically said, I don't want to do any more Star Wars after this.
So it just seems really strange to me. I have a feeling it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Oh, it's going to be okay.
It's going to be fine. But
it can't be any worse than Attack of the Clones.
But the other thing that I'm not looking forward to is, you remember when Last Jedi came out and how for like roughly 9 months after that, it was nothing but hot takes and responses to hot takes. And just thing after, like, that movie just wouldn't go away. Like, I couldn't escape it. Like, every third YouTube video was just some new person complaining about Last Jedi.
Well, I couldn't escape it in conversation. Yeah. Like, somebody would mention it for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
We would be talking about, like we could be talking about sports for some reason, and The Last Jedi could come up. And I'm just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't go away.
I was like, nobody wanted to talk about Solo. I like that movie.
Yeah. People forgot about Solo within, like, 10 minutes, but that's because everyone thought it was okay. But then you would talk about Solo, and then somebody would bring up The Last fucking Jedi.
Right.
Every goddamn time.
Or even Rogue One. I feel like people would shut up about Rogue One.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like Rogue One, and so people would just be like, "Oh, let's talk about Rogue One." I'd be like, "I didn't like it," and then that inevitably is, "What? What's wrong? Why not?
Why do you hate fun?"
Yeah.
It's like, what?
So, in
I
any
like
case,
Rogue One, though.
I don't know. Like, part of me is, let me put it this way: I'm not disinterested in seeing this movie. I'm a lot more interested in the Werner Herzog Carl Weathers bounty hunter story.
I am pretty excited about that one.
That's coming to D+. So that's Jon Favreau directed.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm so much more interested in that because I'm like, oh look, there's another lightsaber fight. This time it's on top of a thing in the middle of an ocean.
Yay!
Look, TIE fighters. Remember those? I'm like, yeah, I never forgot about them.
They're gonna go shoot an iceberg.
Yeah,
it's like hooray.
So, but
I'm excited.
It's
kind
fine.
of. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm not disinterested, but I'm really trying. With Star Wars has gotten to that place where like I don't want to get my hopes up, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm gonna go see it, and when I see it, maybe I'll walk out and be like, "Hey, that was great. Not only did it fix the problems people had with the last one, but I liked it too, and it was better, and blah 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 blah." Or probably what's gonna happen is I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna go, "That was fine, fine." I'm actually way more excited about Fallen Order.
Oh, okay.
And The Mandalorian than I am about this main entry. So
I found an action figure to Fallen Order already.
Oh, the Cal, whatever his name is.
I was at Walmart and I was staring at this figure and I'm like, this looks familiar. It's like, oh, it's the dude from Fallen Order and his robot.
Yeah.
It's like the game hasn't even come out yet, people. Stop it.
I don't know. That game looks.
It comes with an ice cream machine.
The game looks real good. Well, let's talk about what doesn't look real good.
Yeah.
Oh, Bethesda.
Yeah.
How has Bethesda become, I feel like a year ago, like 1 year ago today, before the release or before Fallout 76 came out, that everybody was like, I don't know, Bethesda, but you know what? Rage 2, Wolfenstein, I like that one. And now it's just like, holy shit,
it's
man.
Like, fuck you guys.
Like, how are you guys so bad at this?
It's really bad.
So Fallout 76. We all know it. We all don't like it. I mean, some people do. Some people do, and to those people, I'm so glad that you like this game. I do not. So maybe fast forward anywhere between 5 and 25 minutes to get past this part.
We're going to be talking shit about this for a little
while. So this week, Bethesda came out with a new thing, which is
Fallout First.
Fallout First. And it is a subscription, an optional subscription / one-time yearly payment that gets you some stuff. So it's, what was it, like $15 a month?
It's 12.
$12 a month or $100 for a full year. 13 is.
Oh, it's 13?
Maybe it's $12.99. Whatever. In any case, if you sign up for this, you get access to, and we're gonna get to the end of this story, so don't at me until you listen to the whole thing. A private server that you can have 7 of your friends on.
Yeah, it's 8. It's 8 people. You and 7 people.
You and 7 people. You get 1,650 atoms a month for the premium store. You get this unlimited storage, like
scrap box.
Scrap box.
Unlimited storage for your scrap.
Right. And I mean, kind of that. There's also like some kind of
you get a Fallout New Vegas outfit.
Okay,
as well.
And there's some kind of like waypoint thing that you can play. It's like a camp.
Well, it's like a portable base basically.
Okay,
it's like a tent that's like essentially a portable base.
Right.
And some emotes too.
Okay,
apparently.
So that's what you can get. And I think the main thing is that people have been asking Bethesda if they can get private servers, right?
Yeah.
They want to be able to play with just their friends. And for the people that like Fallout 76, it seems like a really good option, right? Except that I don't know, asking people to pay for it and the amount that they're being asked to pay for it seems a little weird.
Well, the thing is that like you're also I was talking to somebody at work about this because he actually bought and played Fallout 76 when it came out.
Yeah,
and he says his biggest issue with the game was the limited scrap thing.
Mm-hmm.
These are all features that people were asking about. That the tent thing, all this stuff, and then they're just like paywall.
Right.
Good luck with that. And it's like, what? Like, it's like, why? It's like, and you still have to buy the game.
You still have to buy the game, which
it's not a free to play game.
I just looked up. It's between $15 and $20 if you buy it off of Amazon.
Yeah.
The Tricentennial Edition is $35. But like, okay, I'm just gonna put this out there. I spent $60 whole fucking dollars on Fallout 76. I feel like I should get 6 months of this for free.
Yeah.
As being one of the idiots that in the first day it was out paid full price for this turd burglar, monger, muffin, whatever you call. You add your own suffix to the turd insult, right? So there's that.
That's just part of it.
That's just part of it. The other part is that, well, okay, first off, let's just say that the Fallout 76 community is not happy with this.
No.
And a lot of this comes back to the idea that, like, again, I paid $60 for this game. And the idea that, like, this is going to be an ongoing game, right? Their pitch was it's going to be an ongoing game. You're not going to have to do microtransactions. You're not going to have loot boxes. There's going to be some cosmetic DLC, but, you know, you can buy that or you can not buy that or you can earn it with in-game points. And then just slowly but surely, they've been chipping into that. So the idea that for $60, I bought a game, and now to implement a feature that I wanted, I've got to give them $100 and not a one-time, like if it was a $20 expansion pack, that I could understand.
Yeah.
If it was a $20 one-time fee where it's like gets you access to private servers, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that it's $13 a month or $100 for a year for a game that I might have already spent $60 on, to a game that I might already spend $60 and put money into microtransactions.
It doesn't help that they literally delayed like the more exciting thing about it.
Yeah,
as well at the same time.
Yeah, that they pushed off the NPC stuff until next year. Which, if they had implemented that, if there had been an expansion, if they had had a $35 expansion that had the NPCs, private servers, a bunch of cosmetic stuff for free, the unlimited scrap box, and whatever. I would not have as much of a problem with that.
Oh, people would be super down for that.
Yeah, because it's like if the base game is now $20 and then you spend $35 on these enhancements, okay. Like I can even get behind putting the NPC stuff behind a paywall just to be like, this, but this whole thing comes off as so greedy. Like, that's the thing, is the amount of money that I'm being expected to pay just to play this game that isn't very good. Like,
they already implemented this as well, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, and have you heard about what's happened to those people?
Oh yeah, that's part 3 of this little saga. That's the final chapter in the saga.
This saga's fucked, guys.
Of this week's Bethesda news, right? Because it's broken.
It's already broken.
It's broken.
As Bethesda does.
Yeah. So apparently, like, you can't choose which people on your friends list are able to come into your server. So anybody that's on your friends list apparently could just jump into your private server.
Yeah.
That part's broken. Some people have reported that they put a bunch of stuff into the scrap box and then it just disappeared and it's gone and you lost it and you're just not coming back.
There are people who said they lost everything.
Yeah.
They had so much scrap and they just lost all of it.
Yeah. Also, people have been going into their quote-unquote private worlds and finding a bunch of dead NPCs and a bunch of shit that's already been looted. And the concept, what people think is happening here, is that rather than like resetting instances, they're just using existing instances that people have already played into and looted as your private server.
Oh, jeez.
And it's like, what? How is this so...
I didn't even know about that part.
Like, did you guys... I mean, even if you were doing it, like, if they'd done it and it was...
their paywall is broken, guys.
Right. Even if they'd done it and it was good and it was all went according to plan, it would still be bad. But this is like, can you imagine being a person who's been trying to give this game the benefit of the doubt for a year now, and then you're so excited to play with like your 5 buddies who just want to play online Fallout together, and you shell out the $100, and then you get a used instance. You get you
just lose everything as well.
Yeah,
and like random people are joining you.
Yeah, and you lost your stuff, and like,
this is like as bad as the time they banned the guy who actually legitimately was playing their game.
Oh, right.
Remember that happened?
Right. And that's the other thing, is that it would be one thing if this was the first time that Fallout 76 had a problem.
Yeah.
But go back and listen to the podcast. I feel like there have been like 9 things throughout the year of,
it's the thing that keeps on giving.
The bag, the Nuka Rum, the developer room, the guy that got banned. You remember when they were asking people to write apologies for exploiting to get access back to the game they paid for?
That's right.
Like,
from the get-go, from the second they made that statement that said, we don't know what this is.
Yeah.
Let you guys figure out what it is. It's like, no, this shouldn't be what's happening.
And then the way they kept slipping microtransactions in, at E3 they announced Battle Royale, right?
You remember the Santa Claus thing?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was a whole fucking thing.
Yep.
Here's a Santa Claus outfit. Give us money for it.
Yep.
What?
Yep. I don't know. It seems like it's... Okay, I feel like there's a spectrum, right? And that as gamers, depending on the franchise, we're willing to put up with a certain amount of greed by the developer/publisher, right? Like, on the one hand of the spectrum, you maybe have something like, say, Overwatch or like Fortnite, where it's like there's microtransactions, there's monetization in there, but it's optional. It's very optional, right? Fortnite Battle Pass, right? You can buy it, and if you play the game enough, apparently you could just buy the next one with the in-game currency. You don't even have to do it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have stuff where it's like really greedy developers, really just like the loot boxes in Battlefront 2, where it's
your
like
FIFAs and your Madden kind of thing,
or that NBA 2K with the commercial with all the slot machines and the spinning wheels, and it's like, and I feel like Bethesda doesn't understand that the quality of their game isn't high enough for them to be on that end of the spectrum, demanding more money and microtransactions and stuff.
Well, it's not even a quality thing. It's just their following isn't as big as that side of the coin, because it's not a sports game.
Well, sure,
sports people for some reason are just willing to deal with nonsense. I have no idea why.
Yeah,
kind of thing. With Overwatch, it's like it's a really good game, and they're willing to be with that. Battlefront 2 is a weird one, because it's been fluctuating back and forth.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to come back to was, if Fallout 76 was like, if Fallout 76 was like 40% Fallout New Vegas mixed with the ability to play with your friends, mixed with some kind of new online challenge content. You know, things are coming down in the middle of it, and it was all really good, right?
Yeah.
Like, it ran well, it was solid. They had the loot mechanics all worked out. Like, if it was a very solid game that really appealed to, just for example, you and I have been talking for fucking 8 weeks on this podcast about Gun and Battle Operation 2.
Yeah.
That's a gachapon online shooter, and I love it. Like, because it's executed very well. If this was executed very well, then they can get away with this. But the problem is that it's like, well, you put out a garbage game and then ask me to pay you more money for this garbage? And I'm like, it wasn't good on day one. And I've checked back 3 times to see if it's gotten any better, and it hasn't. So, like...
It's always garbage. That's the thing. Like, every time we're like, so what do you have now? Well, here's this new thing, and they lift it up, and it's another, like, literal garbage can. You're like, okay, I'll come back. And then you come back, like, in 3 months. Like, okay, like, I'm here. What do you have for me now? And they pull a bigger garbage can out and open it. But, like, we added more trash to it. It's like, okay, I'll come back, and maybe you won't have a trash can this time. And then this time they came with a chest, and you're like, okay, you know, NPCs, that sounds like a good idea. And they open it, it was full of trash, and you're like, God damn it, I fell for it again.
They opened it, there was a note in there that said, haha, not until next year. Oh, by the way, but we have a consolation prize for you. Here's some more garbage. But
they came up with another trash can right after that. But it was a dumpster this time.
But here's the thing that I think
it was on fire.
We all have to keep in mind, right? They're still making money, because the dedicated fan base is going to give them money.
Yeah.
The people that really like playing this game, and you know what? Like I said, I wish I enjoyed this game. Like, I wished I enjoyed Fallout 76 because I like playing good video games, right?
A lot of people wish they liked Fallout 76.
But there's a certain number of people that are a dedicated fan base that are going to spend $100, that are engaging in the microtransactions, and as long as they keep just enough money around to keep, you know, like a stasis team, right? 4 devs, 8 QAs, and 1 manager paid.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it takes to keep this shit moving, right? That's all it takes. And so they're just going to keep... It's the MMO model, right? They just keep putting it in. As long as you have enough people paying you, you'll keep putting stuff into it. But I don't think this game is ever going to be what we consider a good game.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's going to No Man's Sky. I think it's going to...
I don't think it's going to be able to do what No Man's Sky did. I don't even think it's going to be able to do what Destiny 1 did with the Taken King expansion.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think this game can recover all that well.
If it can, they're going to have a hell of a time convincing people, no, seriously, after all that garbage we shoved down your throat, it's good this time.
My favorite thing is Outer Worlds,
yeah.
Is coming out around the same time this fucking thing happened.
Well, this happened. This comes out on Sunday. This happened on Wednesday?
Yeah, like Wednesday, Tuesday.
And Outer Worlds comes out on Friday, and is free on Game Pass.
And look, dude, okay, so the game I've been on Reddit like for a lot of times during my breaks.
Yeah.
So the gaming subreddit is just full of people shitting on Fallout 76 and being super excited for Outer Worlds. It's the entire thing, and it's beautiful.
I can't wait to play it myself. I'm excited for it.
The reviews are great.
And then the last little thing.
Oh, the best part of it.
The best part is that they didn't register falloutfirst.com as a URL, and so somebody made took their website announcing Fallout First and made a Fallout Fuck You First website that's just their entire press release, but like, you know, Private Worlds. This shitty community has been begging for the ability to play alone in Private Worlds since before the launch of Fallout 76, like what a Fallout game should be. And we begrudgingly announced that they are coming to the game with Fallout Fuck You First. If you're a Fallout Fuck You First slave, how you use your Private World is completely up to you as long as we allow it. Invite up to 7 of your non-existent friends to play at a time. 8 total people per Private World to join you while we screw you over with our pay-to-win systems or play completely solo. We know you like that anyway. All gameplay remains the same from adventure, and then just cuckold in parentheses mode, and all the characters entering the Fallout Fuck You First Private Worlds must be existing characters. So yeah, if you want a quick laugh, you can go out to falloutfirst.com.
It's amazing, guys. There's so much work put into it. And there's a link at the bottom where it's like, here, you can buy it here now, and it takes you to a Rick Astley video.
Oh. Nice.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, I do want to stress, because this comes up a lot. If you play and like Fallout 76, not only do I envy you for getting some enjoyment out of this game, but like, I want you to know none of what I'm saying is about you. And because you like this game, it doesn't
all about you,
it doesn't mean that I don't like you. I love you. You're great. You're fine. You know, play Fallout 76. Again, like I said, I wish it was having more good video games would be great. Would be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It'd be great.
I wish I liked Fallout 76 because it's so cheap right now.
Yeah, I do too. Have you heard a peep? Have you heard even one peep about the Battle Royale mode since they put it in?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Because I played it.
Did that actually already happen?
Well, they put out it may not be in there. I think they put out a beta during E3 because we played it during E3, and I don't know if it's actually integrated into the game, but like I have not heard hide nor hair of that. I've not heard a single news story about.
I actually forgot that was a thing.
The Firestorm or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Or no, that's the Battlefield one.
I don't even know what it was called then, if that's the case.
Anyway. All right. Well, I tell you what, that's a tight 15 minutes on Fallout. Let's get to everybody's second favorite company, Ubisoft.
Yay, those French crazies.
So, Ubisoft has delayed Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Watch Dogs Legion.
Huh.
All three games which were outside of Rainbow Six Quarantine, I was kind of interested in. I was interested in Watch Dogs, and we didn't really know anything about Gods and Monsters. So apparently they had an earnings call, and the reason that they... some days I don't want to do this job, Michael.
Oh, God.
The reason that they've delayed them is because Ghost Recon Breakpoint underperformed, and they want to fix Ghost Recon Breakpoint before they put out more stuff.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Here's a quote from Yves himself. It is harder to generate interest for a sequel to a live multiplayer game when prior iterations benefited from years of optimization. Consequently, we need to make sure there's more time between each iteration of live games. So what a lot of this come down to is that Ghost Recon Breakpoint didn't perform as well as they thought it was going to, and they want to try to make it perform well before they put out any of these titles. Now, as I know there are a lot of people who like Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I kind of think it sucks, but that's just me. But the thing is that I'm really interested in Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
And the idea of pushing back Watch Dogs Legion so you can work on Breakpoint is like, no, don't do it. I don't want to do that.
So strange.
So, yeah, apparently this earnings call, they talked about how... here's another quote from Yves. While the game's quality appeared on track based on E3, Gamescom previews, and our latest internal playtest, critical reception and sales during the game's first week were disappointing. As we have done with the past titles, we will continue to support the game and listen to the community in order to deliver the necessary improvements. So, in this case, what we're understanding is that Ghost Recon Breakpoint was broken. It's a bad game, and so they're gonna spend time after you've already spent your money on it trying to fix it. And I don't know, man. It just keeps coming back to like, this is what we're going to be putting our time and effort into is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I mean,
it's got the Punisher or whatever in it.
Yeah.
I think that's the game that this is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The one where I played it for 3 hours and couldn't figure out what the story was, and finally said, well, like, look, if you can't give me a story hook in the first 3 hours of your game, then like, nah. I don't know. It's incredibly.
I haven't heard anyone talk any good about it, to be honest.
There's actually some folks in the Discord, and I've been on the subreddit. Like, if you go to the subreddit, obviously there's a lot of people there who really like it.
Yeah.
A lot of those people just seem to really like kind of the tactical, like, they seem less interested in the narrative of the game and more interested in just like all of the tactical stuff that you can do and like ambushing convoys. You know, when you play like an open world game and you aren't really playing the story, you're just kind of fucking around with the AI because it's fun. That's the impression that I get of things that people like about Ghost Recon. Like somebody in our Discord, they were like, I've been really enjoying it. And I was like, can you tell me what the story is? And they're like, oh, I haven't done the story. I've just been like getting loot and upgrading and doing stuff. And I was like, cool. I need the story, but
I can't give them too much shit because I did that with Metal Gear Solid 5. So
yeah,
I just sticking around.
I think it's weird to me because Ubisoft was a company that for about 3 years there, I was just like, you guys are on fire, and I love everything you do.
Yeah.
You know, Trials and Assassin's Creed, and you brought Far Cry back and made it weird, and, you know.
A lot of cool shit was going on.
Yeah, and now it's just as time has gone on, it's like they ran Assassin's Creed directly into the ground. They put out, 14 Assassin's Creed games in the last 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's the whole weird thing with Far Cry 5 and its sequel.
And then, you know, and then it's like, but it's like once the Division came out, it was over. It was like they learned that they could just make money on the Division. And then they did Rainbow Six.
Oh, yeah.
And then they did Ghost Recon Wildlands. And it was like, oh, fuck.
And I wasn't a big fan of that Ghost Recon, the Rainbow Six one.
Oh, Siege?
Yeah.
No, I don't like. I mean,
a lot of people like that game a lot. I won't lie, but it just wasn't for me. Like, I mean, I really liked the other Rainbow Sixes they came out with prior to that.
I like single player, and like I would play the fuck out of Vegas 3 if they put it out,
because they had canceled the original single player game they were making for Rainbow Six.
Yeah, like
Patriots.
It was like Patriots. Yeah,
and I was really excited for that
because it was a
they just
crossover
quietly
with
canceled it.
Metal Gear. It's a Metal Gear crossover.
Exactly.
Yeah, remember they had a trailer for it and everything.
Yeah, there's a whole thing for it.
Yeah,
and then they just quietly canceled it. They're like, oh, the political climate or whatever, and then they canceled it. I was like, oh, come on, guys.
And then they made it in Counter-Strike. So yeah, and again, just like the first story. Hey, bro, you like Ghost Recon? Cool. You like Rainbow Six? Great. You like the Division? I'm so happy for you. But I liked the single player. I loaded up Watch Dogs 2, and I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, the first thing that happened, the tutorial level in Watch Dogs 2 is your main character, who is a black man, who we don't see very often, is, like, sneaking into the equivalent of, like, a server farm to erase himself from, like, Facebook and, like, sneaking behind people. And, you know, I love that game so much, and I wanted to play Legion really bad. And
Legion sounds awesome.
Yeah, and so
I want to just have a team of old people.
Yep. Red, the movie Red.
It's going to be the movie Red, basically.
So, well, but you know what? So the people playing Ghost Recon, or not Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, you know, I wish you well, and hopefully you will be better, because last week Ubisoft also brought a big old lawsuit.
Oh my God!
Against a company called Mizusoft that literally sells cheat tools for Rainbow Six.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they just sell them on their website. So they brought a big old lawsuit against them in California for basically being like, you guys can't do that. You can't circumvent our server code
and then pay for it.
And then ask somebody to pay for it. They're asking for $25,000 per violation and for the company to be shut down.
Oh my God!
Which, you know, I have very little. You know, the guy that YouTuber that put out the information on Borderlands 3 and 2K sent
that guy.
fucking PIs to his house. A lot of sympathy for the guy. Like, he just found information online, put it online, and they were just like, oh, you're breaking our intellectual property rights. These guys can kind of go fuck themselves, because they're giving people the tools to make the game less fun for other people. Like, if you're playing an online multiplayer game, just play an online multiplayer game. Why cheat? Like,
well, and also, if you're going to cheat, you better do it yourself like a man.
That's right. That's right.
Don't pay someone that'll let you cheat. That's stupid.
I think that's become more and more of a thing. These kind of just clandestine groups that will put out cheat tools and then charge you $5 to get them.
Yeah, but it's like hella not like a good idea.
But then what I don't understand about that, right, is anybody who's going to be willing to pay, anybody who wants to cheat in like the PC version of Rainbow Six, you know how to use a torrent, right?
It's so weird.
Like, why would you pay for cheat tools? You could just steal them. And what is Mizusoft going to turn you into the FBI for stealing their cheating tools? I mean, I don't know. They might.
I don't know. They're pretty stupid, so maybe.
So, in any case, hopefully we can all rest easier and not have cheaters. And last but not least, we're going to get into talking about Halloween stuff. There's a big new Halloween event for Rainbow Six Siege. This is a real CG segment called Doctor's Curse, where it's a bunch of weird monster hunters with maces trying to hunt down a bunch of zombified, ghosty, Molina-looking people. It's like a 5-on-5 mode. It's the free Halloween update.
Yeah, it's nice.
It looks okay.
It looks kind of okay.
Yeah, it's not exactly the greatest thing of all time.
I was expecting something a little more exciting.
Flash flood alert.
Dun dun dun.
Oh shit! I thought I turned off all of these phone alerts.
If only my phone actually did phone things.
Yes, Michael's phone is dead.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't think I brought that up. Yeah, my phone died on Sunday.
Yep.
As we were recording God of War.
Yep. I don't know. This looks fine. If you're into Rainbow Six, I mean, like, it's cool to have an event, and if you're into Rainbow Six, great.
Yeah,
great.
good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you.
The doctor will see you.
Yep. And also, there's a bunch of skins, like themed skins that you can get during this particular time.
Is there an Overwatch skin?
I don't think so. From there, let's talk about Dying Light.
Yay.
Now, this is weird. There was a tweet last week from Dying Light, the Dying Light game that's like Dying Light cross Left 4 Dead 2.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now, before anybody gets their hopes up, pretty sure this is just going to be like a bunch of skins and maybe some stuff, but like they're not probably bringing like any of the monsters over. There's no information about it. This is kind of all there is. But there's some kind of crossover indicating that even if Valve has forgotten all about Left 4 Dead, Dying Light has not.
If there's like a Coach voice pack or something, I would buy that.
Well, because this guy's wearing in this screenshot, this is Coach's outfit, right? With the yellow shirt, and the green pants and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
And the headband. Anyway, I don't
remember whose outfit that was.
Okay.
Because Coach wears like what looks like a Coach outfit kind of thing.
I don't know. I didn't really ever Left 4 Dead all that much. But in any case, if you're in for some Halloween stuff, keep an eye on the Dying Light Twitter, because they're probably going to be throwing some stuff up in not too long.
Hooray.
From there, I am happy to report a very, very, very bizarre story.
Go on.
Nothing has happened in this just yet. Just an announcement that Suda51 and Swery65 are making a game together.
Oh my God, really?
Yep. It's called Hotel Barcelona. There's no details, but Suda51 and Swery are making a game, and that sounds awesome.
That's one of my favorite things I've ever heard.
Yeah. So
there's no way it's going to not be batshit insane.
Yeah. I just hope that because I feel like not so much with Swery as well. With Swery and Suda, you got to spin the roulette wheel, and every so often you land on like, this is a bad game mechanically. Like sometimes you it's good, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you land on like, oh, okay, no, I don't want to play that. Like
you land on Killer is Dead sometimes, and then sometimes you land on Shadows of the Damned, which is pretty rad.
Yeah. Or that what was that? The Travis Strikes Again, where I was kind of like,
that's okay.
Bad top-down PS2 game. I don't know.
It's okay, but it's not like anything to write home about kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember not. What was Killer? Killer is Dead. I remember playing it. I don't remember disliking it that much. It was kind of.
I remember you and Jason telling me how much you hated it.
Oh, okay.
Because of the Gigolo mode and all that stuff.
Well, Gigolo mode's a whole different. That's a whole different story.
Well, it's part of the game. That's why you guys were like telling me how much you hated it at the time.
Yeah. So yeah. Suda51, Swery65, just burn the words Hotel Barcelona into your brain. And then if you ever you're online and you see Hotel Barcelona is trending on Twitter and you go like, what the fuck wait a minute, is that game that Jeff was talking about a year ago?
I'm really excited about this though.
So yeah, it seems like it seems pretty cool. From there, let's talk a little bit about Blizzard.
Oh, geez.
Blizzard, you're not getting away. Well, it's not really... we don't have anything new on the whole Blizzard licks China's butthole this week. It's more that people have been talking about BlizzCon, and there's a bunch of slots on the BlizzCon presentations that are not filled in.
Huh.
And so there's a lot of speculation about what it is that we're going to see fill those slots up. And a German website has put out, it was a German magazine called GameStar that put out an ad for a book, an art book for Diablo. And in the description, it said, featuring over 500 artworks from Diablo, Diablo 2, Diablo 3, and Diablo 4.
Say what now?
Yeah. So a lot of people are thinking that this is no typo. This is basically they weren't supposed to put that ad copy out early, and that one of the things that's going to be announced is Diablo 4, which
it's going to be phone only.
Yeah, considering last year's Diablo, what was it Eternal, Diablo
Something
Immortal,
like that, yeah.
Diablo cell phone game that everybody shat on, like
Yeah, everyone disliked that.
That they would probably do good. Bethesda could use a win, right? Or not Bethesda.
Blizzard.
Blizzard could use a win right now.
You could use it so badly.
Yeah. So I think that announcing Diablo 4 would be a win for Blizzard.
I feel like it's there in case of emergency game.
Right. And then, there was also a lot of people were pretty sure that was going to be announced last year, and that at the last minute they swapped it out for that dumb Diablo phone game.
Yeah.
So
it's possible.
It's possible. We'll know in about a week, I think.
It's pretty soon, actually.
BlizzCon is. There's also another report. This is kind of some scuttlebutt from a guy online called Metro, who's a Twitter user and a streamer and a well-known leaker, saying that Overwatch 2 might also be in the mix.
Interesting.
According to his stuff, this is all speculation, or well, it's unconfirmed, right? So, but according to him, it'll have PvE and PvP. It'll have a leveling system where you have to level up your hero, and they'll have different abilities depending on how you level up. They're putting the resources in putting Overwatch 2 together as fast as possible, and not sure whether the competitive is going to move all the way to Overwatch 2 or they're going to keep both things going at the same time for like League and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's possible that within a week we might know about Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2.
That could be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Blizzard should know at this point that, we're all like, boo, you corporate stooge kowtowing to an authoritarian regime. And they're like, Diablo 4. We're like, what, Diablo 4? I'm super excited.
Boo
Woo!
earns. Boo earns.
Yeah. So, remember that Blizzard still does the stuff. Like, don't forget.
The internet forgets stuff very easily, like a goldfish.
Yep.
Or Winnie the Pooh.
Yep. Don't talk about Winnie the Pooh. Don't talk about Winnie the Pooh. Did you see that PewDiePie is banned in China now?
Really?
Because he's like last week or something, he just made a concerted effort to do like a show comparing Xi Jinping to Winnie the Pooh and just like talking about how shitty China is.
Oh my God.
And not just that, but apparently in China, because of like the state sponsored thing, apparently like there's a trademark for PewDiePie that's like owned by an entity that is not him in China.
Really?
Yeah. So apparently he's blocked on their firewall. But then apparently people could still sell PewDiePie merchandise, and then the money just doesn't go to him at all.
That's so weird,
like,
but also sounds like something China exactly would do.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of China, last week there was a Magic the Gathering tournament, and the winner basically came up and did exactly what we've seen with some of the Hearthstone stuff, and said, freedom and rights for Hong Kong, et cetera, and Wizards of the Coast was like, do not cut away, do not try to steer this conversation elsewhere.
Look at it.
Let him say what he wants to say.
Love us.
Yeah. So hey, maybe if you feel weird or scummy about playing Hearthstone, you could play. There's currently a Magic online game, right?
Yeah, there's a Magic the Gathering online game.
Hey, there's a card game.
Did you hear about what happened with that Hearthstone tournament though?
Which one?
They gave like the dude the trophy and it just fell apart.
No,
like in his hands.
No,
it was amazing.
Oh no, I didn't.
They're
hear
like,
about
you
that.
win, and they give it. It's literally just fell apart on him. It's just like, what the fuck?
Good job, Blizzard. They're like, don't get Diablo 4 out, God damn it.
It was pretty amazing.
Do you think if they really wanted the publicity, they'd be like Diablo 4 and it's out right now? Because that would really, the goldfish minds would.
They would forget.
Everybody would forget. Everybody would be like, oh my God, I'm so much fun in Diablo 4. I mean, I still don't like what Blizzard did with the one guy, but Diablo 4, man, is so good.
It's pretty. I'm interested to see what happens with them, to be honest.
All right. Well, you know what? We're going to have to speed up a little bit. This next section I like to call Jeff Has No Transitions Potpourri. So from here, let's move on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the new one that's coming out, has been delisted in Russia by Sony on their digital store.
Interesting.
Not just that, but all pre-orders have been refunded, and it's basically been taken away. Now, it still exists on BattleNet and the Xbox Store. But so this was specifically a Sony move. Like, it wasn't anything to do with Activision. It was a Sony in particular who delisted this, and we have no real clue why, outside of the idea that there is like apparently you kill a bunch of Russians in Modern Warfare, and that it might be Sony trying to be like, so
Sony just looked at somebody and went, remember, no Russian.
Well, that Sony's gotten a little weirder these days with like the fact that the dumb cheesecake visual novels are like more censored on the PS4 than they are on the Switch at this point.
They're very censor heavy lately.
Yeah. So, and then it's assumed that physical copies will still be available for the PlayStation. If they're not, though, that's weird because you remember Sony locked up that one mode, right? That one Modern Warfare mode.
I already forgot the name of it.
It was like the Spec Ops. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think
or something?
so.
But that if it's just not available, and I mean, like, it's kind of a fuck you to the Russian fans. But it's weird because it's not coming from Activision. It's coming from Sony.
Well, it is. Sony is a region-free console, so
maybe
just buy
so
it for anything else. So
yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Maybe. I don't know. It's really strange, though. It's just real weird because that happened and nobody said anything.
That's really strange.
Yep. Not so strange. Battlefield 5 is going back to the Pacific. We got there's going to be an update that's going to be coming back later this month, and we're going back to the Pacific. There was a big 3-minute trailer that Michael and I watched. It's, in the words of Nathan Explosion, it's so brutal.
It's really brutal.
It's so brutal that it doesn't look fun to me. It looks like watching a really grim war movie to me.
It's like almost like Saving Private Ryan sometimes. Of just like people just getting mowed down and
screaming,
horrible death.
There's like this one scene where, I mean, a lot of it is the fact that the Frostbite engine is so good looking that these people look like the characters in this trailer look very realistic. Too realistic.
Yeah, like right now, the guy just got shot in the face next to the guy who you're following.
Or the fact that like there's this scene where like this one guy jumps up and like opens up on a trench full of people with a flamethrower. And it's like, look, I know that this shit happened in war, but I guess what I'm saying is there's a certain point where it's so realistic and my brain knows that this kind of stuff actually happened where I'm like, I don't think I can pretend to have fun with this.
Yeah, I feel kind of gross by the fact that the two people that it follows die very horribly.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, guys, this is kind of gross the way how all this plays out. And like I get that it's supposed to be exciting, but oh, God, like, it's just...
it's less exciting for me than I would have thought.
It's not really like be badass. It's more like be like the guy who probably will have PTSD by the time this is over.
War is hell.
It's like, fuck. But there's a cool samurai sword sequence. It's like, what is happening?
War is hell. So I don't know. Yay, man. You into Battlefield 5? Have some Battlefield 5. Everybody wants Battlefield 5? Have some Battlefield 5. And it's going to be free, right? Because there wasn't a season pass because they're doing like loot boxes and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
so.
That's right.
In completely unrelated news, Conan O'Brien is in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
This is a weird one.
I was talking to a coworker about that one.
Yeah. The Wandering MC. There was a whole video, I didn't watch it all, where he like they went to Kojima and they like mocapped him in. And
yeah, like there's it's a running thing with Conan where he goes to like game developers and he does stuff with them game wise. Like they never released this. I'm amazed they never did. It was a Conan O'Brien skin for Injustice because it was like they made because a while back he had Bruce Timm draw a superhero version of him, and so they added it to as an Injustice skin in that. But I don't think they ever put it out for the public. But there's like a whole episode of him using it, and it was for Superbad.
Oh.
It was fucking crazy.
That's cool. Well, the thing that's weird here is that Kojima tweeted this, and apparently this is going to be in the game. And not only that, but in this tweet, I don't know if you saw this part, there's an otter hat.
Yeah.
And you could get this otter hat from Conan O'Brien, and Norman Reedus and Sam can wear it. And not just that, but then they show him with the otter hat on in the water, like an otter, like going and kind of floating around and looking like an otter. And I'm like, Oh, right. I forgot. This is the man that put the chicken hat in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah,
and
there's the crocodile hat.
Yeah.
The dude loves random hats.
Yeah, he loves him some animal hats. So, hey, you could be an otter man.
I'm cool with this.
We have to start cutting some of these things out. Fortnite has fishing, and apparently one of the things that you can fish out of the water. Speaking of water, and there's totally transitions here. I just forgot what they were.
Otters.
Speaking of being in the water, apparently when you fish in Fortnite, one of the things that you can get is this golden fish statue.
Huh.
That apparently you can then throw at people, and it does titanic amounts of damage to them.
Geez.
But it also just falls. It doesn't destroy. It just falls wherever you throw it, and then you have to go pick it back up and throw it at more people. But,
That's amazing.
Yeah, as part of the new Fortnite update, you can now throw a goldfish at people.
God damn you, Fortnite, for being so amazing
Yeah.
and not making me want to play you sometimes.
I actually almost downloaded it, and then I was like, no.
I wish I liked that game 100 times over.
Yep. The Sims 4 is getting let's go to trailers. We got a trailer for The Sims 4 Discovery University. So all your Sims can now go to college and get wasted and
Get mega wasted.
Yeah, on
Have
juice. Because they have like kegs full of juice instead of booze.
It's very strange.
I'm like, are there children playing The Sims 4? I thought it was just a bunch of adults trying to relive their childhood.
Well, at this point, I think it's all adults.
But yeah, it appears that there's a lot of like fratting out at the bar and fucking going to class. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, there's like robots and shit.
Yeah. Apparently, I mean, I don't know. The Sims 4. You remember how everybody hated The Sims 4 when it came out? And then
Yeah, that was the thing for a while.
yeah, and then everybody forgot about The Sims 4, and then they've released like 14 expansions for The Sims 4. We had that one at E3 during the EA conference where it was the Island Paradise, and then they've got the Magic one, and they've got this one, and it was Cats and Dogs 6 months ago, and Apartment Life, or I think that was one of them.
That's The Sims, though. It's constantly just full of those things.
Yep. I feel like The Sims is one of those games where I really understand people that are like, no, I just want to play The Sims. Like,
Yeah.
I've got The Sims. That's all I want to play. I don't want to play Call of Duty. I don't want to play Battlefield 5 or As Hell expansion. I just want to play my little Sims, and I want to do them every day. There's a story that I read one time, or that it was on, I've been talking about Reply All a lot recently.
Uh-huh.
I think it was on Reply All, about this young girl who made her grandmother in The Sims after she died. She made like her grandmother died, and she made her grandmother's house and a Sim that was her grandmother, and then like spent a lot of time in the mod community like putting everything the way it was in her grandmother's house, and then put herself in there, but then had aging turned off for the grandma, and then eventually one day she realized that she, in order to have closure with her grandmother dying, she was going to have to let her Sim grandmother die.
Oh,
and
geez.
so she turned on the aging for Sim grandma, and then had like a certain number of days for her Sims to spend together, and then her Sim grandmother died, and then her like mourned it, and it was just like, Jesus.
That's amazingly depressing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
I
Jesus.
mean, at the end of the day, it was bittersweet because she got all this, like, she got this time with her grandma that she felt like she never got, and then she got closure when it was all over, but it was just like, good God.
That's
good God.
Jesus. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, let's brighten up the mood and talk about Command & Conquer. Speaking of throwbacks to your childhood, we got a 30-second gameplay teaser for the Command & Conquer HD remaster. It kind of looks like garbage because Command & Conquer is like a 30-year-old video game.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't look great.
And
I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, and if you just take a 30-year-old video game and make all the graphics look better, it still looks like a 30-year-old video game. So I say
Hooray.
remaster Command & Conquer Red Alert 2 because I love Yuri. I am Yuri. Take all that Udo Kier green screen footage and fucking bump it up to 4K. Whoever owns, I guess EA, whoever
I have no
owns
idea at this
Command &
point.
Conquer now. Because, or Generals, you know how hard it is to get a hold of Command & Conquer Generals? You have to buy the full Command & Conquer edition off of EA Access
Oh, really?
or Origin.
That's crazy.
Yeah. From there, we got a trailer for Dragon Ball Z Kakarot gameplay introduction trailer. Michael, would you like to tell people what you learned?
Sure. So I learned that there's basically the game has essentially assists. Like you have because it uses very much similar to the Xenoverse gameplay style, but you now have like 2 other characters who will assist you in your battles, either doing different things like the solar flare or the destructo disc, or Yamcha doing a spirit ball, that kind of thing. And sometimes they'll just do actual attacks while you're doing an attack to make your combos longer, kind of thing. And they also show that there will be more playable characters, but that's something people knew. But they all have their own specific missions that they also get as well. And I'm pretty excited still. And it comes out in January, and I can't fucking wait.
It looks like more of an actual video game, not. Okay, sorry, that was a little disparaging. It looks like more of an RPG and less of an arena fighter.
Yeah, because there was a lot of people who watched early gameplay footage was like, oh, it just looks like an arena fighter, but there's actual like missions and stuff and different things you can do.
The fact there's a very brief moment in this trailer where it's like you're flying through the world and just to go to different places, you could see like essentially like random encounters and villages and stuff.
And there's a lot of other like gameplay footage out there that shows a lot of the other mission stuff, as well as his ability to fish, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it, the whole thing.
It seems like a good game for people who like Dragon Ball. That's
very, very
not
excited.
Me. Let's see. We're gonna cut this one. We did get a really nice trailer for Darksiders Genesis. That was kind of like an opening cinematic where Strife goes and talks to Malgross the Defiler. It was really good. It was
a really good trailer.
Really good little cutscene. And then I'm sure you guys can all guess that a bunch of violence ensues. I love that this is being made by the original team that made.
Oh, really?
Well, it's being made by Airship Games, right? Because
okay.
Who's the Gunfire are the ones that made 3, and apparently because this is a prequel to the entire franchise, where it's about strife and war. Because Gunfire is still working on Darksiders 4, I think 3 sold well enough for them to do that.
Yeah.
But apparently when that happened, I think John was the one who told me that what's it called, like steamship or airship?
It's airship or something, because it showed up in the opening.
What was it? Airship Syndicate. That's the company that made Battle Chasers Night War.
Oh.
So apparently when this came out, apparently Joe Mad and the people from Vigil like talked to Gunfire, and they were like, hey, we want to make another one of these. Will you let us make another Darksiders game? They're like, yeah. So they're the ones that are making this game.
Oh, that's pretty cool. It's a fun trailer, though.
It is. It's really good. It looks real good. I actually kind of can't wait to play this game.
I do like the idea of like the angels essentially being used as lanterns.
Oh yeah, as just a light. Yep. So, also I think that at least in Darksiders 3, Phil Lamar is the voice of Strife, and I think it's
definitely somebody different in
here
this
too.
Okay.
At
least it feels like it is. I don't know. Maybe he's doing a new voice.
In any case, I didn't really care that much for Darksiders 3, but I really look forward to this. This looks more kind of up my alley of just like...
It looks good. Still.
Yeah. Let's blast it. And we got a release date. So Darksiders Genesis is going to be coming out December 5th for Google Stadia and the PC, which is just Steam. And then February 14th of next year for the consoles.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day. Kill some demons. Unfortunately, when it comes to games coming out next year, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer for The Last of Us 2 because it got delayed until May. It was originally supposed to be out in, I believe, February 21st.
Didn't they just announce that, too?
Yeah, the release date, yeah. But in a post, they basically, Neil Druckmann and them, they said they just don't feel it's polished enough. They need more time to work on it. And I think that... as mad as people get about delays, that people are like, well, I don't want a half-assed Last of Us game. So
yeah, that's true.
Why don't you guys take as much time as you need to put out a Last of Us game, and we'll all calm down.
I trust Naughty Dog.
Yeah. So. Not just that. We had another update or another release date for a very strange thing. I didn't expect to see this one coming this week. Helldivers is getting kind of an update.
Huh.
Called Helldivers Dive Harder. That's bringing a new area, a new city area, as well as some expansions to the loadouts and preferences and things like that. But yeah, Helldivers. It makes me really want to go back and check in on Helldivers. Are there people still playing Helldivers? There have to be, right?
I don't know. I just remember my friends list in both Facebook and PlayStation being full of people playing Helldivers.
Yeah.
It was very, very popular when it came out.
Yeah, it was fun as hell. And I think it's coming out later October 25th. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So by the time this podcast comes up, it'll already have been out for a day.
Oh, yeah.
Or two. Let's see. More release stuff. Apparently, I Am 8-Bit is putting out some limited edition of Aladdin on the Sega Genesis and The Lion King on the Super Nintendo.
Cool.
Like a literal physical release. There's only going to be 4,500 of these. They're going to be like $100 a piece. Like the Aladdin cartridge literally glows in the dark. Pretty sure these are all going to be sold out by the time you're hearing it on the podcast. So, hope you got one.
It's one of those things where it's like these games still exist in that format, so you could probably just find those instead.
Yeah.
Unless you really want like that very goldish looking Lion King one.
Well, they also, I mean, like, they did it up right. They've got like a bunch of artwork and just, fun stuff.
It's very much a collector's thing.
Yes. 100% collector's thing. So, yeah.
Still pretty cool.
Yeah, not bad at all. Elite Dangerous was going to be bringing in the big capital ships this year, and apparently that has also been delayed to 2020. So
a lot of delays this year.
Yep, I feel like they said they weren't able to get it out and get it done by the end of the year, so they're going to be putting it forward. 3 more things before we leave. One, it is let no one say that when Jeff is wrong about things that he does not say, I was wrong, because last week when we were talking about Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE.
Oh, yeah.
I talked to you about this. I said that, I put out this story and I was like, so people thought that it was going to be the uncensored Japanese version and it's not in the North America. And God, why are you so dumb? And that's stupid. Except I was nicer about it.
Yeah.
However, it turns out that wasn't the story. The story is that the Japanese Switch release of Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE is going to be the North American version of the Wii U game. So the original Wii U game was a little bit scantily, a little sexier in Japan.
Yeah.
They toned it down and changed it around for the US release. And then apparently this version, the Switch version they're putting out worldwide, is going to be the North American version.
That's so strange.
So not just that, but Nintendo is actually issuing people they issued both an apology and they offered refunds for any pre-orders that have been done for this, because the website in Japan showed screenshots from the Japanese version of the Wii U. So yes, that basically happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah, last week I talked about it and I said the wrong. I said a wrong-o. I still don't personally think it's a huge deal which version you get, but some people want their protagonists to be 16-year-old scantily clad girls. So
good luck with that, though.
Have fun. Or you could have fun at Taco Bell. I don't know if you realize this, but Taco Bell has this promotion that's going on right now. I just wanted to use this as an excuse to say Taco Bell is rad. So Taco Bell has this current, one of their current things is it's a $5 double chalupa box where they brought back the big wide double chalupa.
Oh, okay.
It's a double chalupa, it's a taco, and it's cinnamon twists and a drink, and it's $5. But it also has an entry code that you can put into their website to win an Xbox One X. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Why the fuck am I talking about this? This is just Taco Bell does this shit all the time.
Yeah.
However, I would like to point out to anybody that has an Xbox that you also get a code good for 14 days of Xbox Games Pass Ultimate, which means that for $5, if you don't have Game Pass, you could be playing the Outer Worlds this Friday for the cost of a $5, and you could do it with a chalupa. You have a double chalupa and you play at the Outer Worlds.
That's crazy as shit.
Yeah. And then I don't know, but I've heard that if you get Game Pass and download a game and then Game Pass expires, you still got that game. I mean, you maybe look into that, right? But
I'll have to look into that, yeah.
But
that's interesting.
The idea that you could be playing Fallout New Vegas in space for the cost of a chalupa is kind of just amazing.
That's fucking crazy as shit.
Yeah. So apparently, apparently there was also a Gears 5 had a promotion with Chips Ahoy where they were giving away things. So
seriously?
You get some cookies back in Gears 5. But yeah, I think it's just great. And I actually had one of those double chalupa boxes, and it was okay. I don't like the cinnamon crispas at Taco Bell.
Oh, okay.
So I had them swap out for chips and queso, which made them add $1 to it. So it was $6. And then, just one double chalupa and a taco isn't enough for Jeff from Rage Select. So then I ordered some stuff off the dollar menu. It was like $8.50 by the time I was out of there.
It's not terrible still.
Also, I didn't win an Xbox One X.
Oh.
So.
You hear that, Xbox One X? You don't get a brother.
That's right. I was going to sell it if I got one. So, to you, strangely enough. No. Last but not least, okay, so you know how people love putting stuff into Resident Evil 2 where Mr. X is supposed to be?
Uh-huh.
The current champion is the Goose.
Oh, my God.
From Untitled Goose Game as Mr. X.
Does it honk?
Apparently, the guy that made it is working on it, honking. This is the guy that put he did one of the other mods.
Was it the X going to give it to you one?
No, it's him and that guy are working together on this one.
Oh, okay.
He did the Thomas the Tank Engine one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the idea, and that the Goose has Mr. X's hat on as well. And so they have one GIF online of when the Mr. X moves the rubble out of the way, and it's just the big ass Goose with the Mr. X hat on.
I discovered one of my favorite mods of it so far.
Yeah.
Not this isn't this specifically, but it does involve the Goose. Somebody turned the Brawly model for Dragon Ball Fighters.
Okay.
They put a goose head on it, and it honks every time he's supposed to talk. Okay. It's fucking amazing. People love that fucking game, and I love them for that.
Yep. I actually spent in the Discord chat 10 to 45 minutes last night railing against some jackass who was just like writing this highbrow article about how Untitled Goose Game is just work and it's not worth playing, and it was just like,
it's work. What the fuck is he talking about?
I don't even want to give this guy. I don't even want to say his name because I don't want him to get credit for even. It was just some bullshit. This guy seemed mad that you even had to play video games with your hands like a baby's toy, and it was like, no, if this had been like a short film, I would have been interested. But all this busy work you have to do with this goose, and I'm just like, you get out.
I don't think you've played a game before.
You get out of here, person. You leave my hobby alone. You go take your head and put it up somebody's ass and write whatever. Anyway,
That's so weird.
yeah. With that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to do some questions. So stick around, everybody, and we'll see you in just a minute. Honk! And we're back! Michael, it is time for everybody's favorite part of the podcast, questions and
I think your voice
answers.
cracked there for a second.
What's that?
I think your voice cracked there for a second.
Oh, it's possible. It's possible. My voice is all over the place. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. And our first question this week comes in from Julio. Julio writes in and says, hey, Jeff and Mike, I am very much looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think the game looks amazing and the combat looks fun, but I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII before, and old school Square Enix turn-based RPGs aren't my thing. My friend told me based off of the trailers and the new scenes that the game story might actually play out differently than in the original, such as the new soldier character and the church scene being changed. So, should I play Final Fantasy VII before playing and waiting for the remake? Thanks for answering my question, Julio. Is an interesting question. I think I would say no.
Well, if
probably.
I would say no only because it's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Like you're going to be. It's kind of like the way it is. It's almost like Total Recall and then new Total Recall kind of thing. But like, because I knew a lot of people who watched the new Total Recall who had never seen the original.
Yeah.
Who were like, I thought it was fine, kind of thing.
You're like, go watch the original.
Yeah, exactly. And so you might like. I'm not saying that it's going to be as bad as new Total Recall kind of thing.
You heard it.
That's not what I'm saying.
You heard it here first, folks. Michael says new Final Fantasy VII is just as bad as who's the guy? Colin.
I almost said Firth, but it's
not Colin Firth.
SWAT guy. I don't remember his name anymore. In Bruges. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Total Recall.
Bullseye.
Yeah. Bullseye
from Daredevil.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that
almost said Colin Mockery, and I know that's not right either.
I was going to say that. That was on the tip of my brain as well, but I don't know, Julio. I guess the thing is that I think that one of the reasons that maybe no is because the idea of playing all the way through Final Fantasy VII just to turn around and start playing Final Fantasy VII, Also, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming in the games. I mean, okay,
It's completely different.
let's break it down. I think it's going to be somewhat different, but I think that all the story stuff is going to be. I mean, I don't think they're
the major beats are going to play the same,
right?
But there's going to be a lot of stuff in between that's different.
Yeah, but then the question is that stuff is all the flavor that comes in between the big story beats of Final Fantasy VII important enough for you to experience it? It'd be like, should I read the Hunger Games before I watch the Hunger Games movie? And I'd be like, nah, just watch the Hunger Games movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
I would. You know what I would do, Julio? I would have you do what I do, which is play the Final Fantasy VII remake, and if you really love it, then when you're done, then play original Final Fantasy VII so you can see what the differences are.
Or hell, just watch a YouTube video on it. They're fucking everywhere.
Well, yeah, a whole synopsis type of thing. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of Final Fantasy as well, especially back in those days. It's also not exactly the most like streamlined game that's ever existed. Like there's a lot of grinding and walking from place to place and doing stuff. So
I restarted that game a ton of times when I was younger because I was really bad at those types of games back then.
Yeah.
And so there were times where I'm like, oh, I'm stuck fighting this wall monster.
Right.
I guess I'm just going to start over again because I can't fucking grind enough because I don't have enough health potions or whatever to last long enough to fight him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was a pain in the ass for like a long time. And
I never beat any of the weapons.
I only beat the Ultima weapon because to get the ultimate weapon is the easiest of all three weapons.
Yeah. So I don't think I would recommend. I think that, and a lot of it too, some of the answer to this question, Julio, is that I don't know your life.
Yeah.
So like
Do you have the time is really also what it comes down to.
Yeah. I personally think that right now, I mean, I know that the internet is kind of split on this. There's a lot of people online who are just like, this is the worst time there's ever been for video games. Every video game sucks now. And I'm like, I'm exactly the opposite of that. I think there's so many good games to play that I feel like you should just play other games. And
we're spoiled now.
That there are good JRPGs out there if you want to play a JRPG, even though you said you're not really a big fan of the old turn-based stuff. There's plenty of stuff out there to play. I think that you would probably be better served by just waiting and then playing it. And then if you like it, then go back and see what the original was like. Because the other thing is that, you know, if you play Final Fantasy VII now, well, you're not going to get any of the big twists. And like, everybody knows about the one, which I won't even say because I don't, last time I talked about Final Fantasy VII, I got a mean email about spoilers. But like,
there's a good goose meme about it.
Yes. But there's a lot of other stuff that you will not know.
There's a lot of twists in that game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, about different characters.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain characters you're like, oh, I knew what this character. I know everything of what this character's about. Nope, did not expect that one thing to happen.
So there's a lot going on in Final Fantasy VII, and I would say that if you're actually really excited for it, do yourself a favor and don't go in blind, right? Don't go in already knowing what's going to happen because you're going to play Final Fantasy VII Part 1 and you know where the story's going.
Yeah.
But then you have to wait several years for Part 2.
It's like reading the manga before the anime comes out.
Yeah.
Because I'm constantly frustrated by watching the new season of My Hero Academia, knowing where I'm at now, wanting that entire fucking in-between to be animated already really badly.
Yes. Don't be like Michael.
Yeah, don't do that. Do not do that to yourself.
Don't read the manga until the anime is over.
And then see the differences.
Yeah, and then you can see the differences. That's what I actually read. I did read Hunger Games, but I waited until all the movies were out, and I saw them all. And
so
then
you're
I went
saying
back
you
and
should read the My Hero Academia manga up to that point now?
I know myself. I know I won't stop.
That's fair. That's what happened to me. So
yeah. Whereas on the other hand, I read all the Harry Potter books before the movies came out, and then the movies were a disappointment to me because I was like, well, you cut out 40% of the Cho Chang subplot. This is dick garbage. What are you doing? Get out of here.
Luckily, anime does the opposite. It adds stuff constantly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would recommend, Julio. Let's see. Maleo writes in and says, hello, Jeff and Mike. Thank you for reading my question. Recently, it was announced that the beloved comic book Bone by Jeff Smith will be adapted into a Netflix cartoon. I remember finding the series in my library and falling in love with it to the point where I bought all of the colored novels, which are now at my dad's house, so I've opted to reread it digitally. I absolutely love this series, and while I'm usually wary about adaptations, The fact that it will be on Netflix and has the full support input of the original creator has me relieved, and I hope that they keep in some of the more darker and dramatic elements of the series. My question is, if you have read Bone, and what are your thoughts? If not, highly recommended, not to overblow your expectations, of course. It's a library staple, but is also fairly affordable on digital sites like Comixology. I also want to ask, what are some of your favorite comics that you read as a kid or teen you would like to see one day made into a show or a cartoon? Thanks for reading, and keep up the rage. And that is from Melio. Have you read Bone?
Amazingly enough, I haven't.
Okay.
I remember seeing, like, I've seen Bone everywhere since, from the second I started reading.
Did they make a Telltale
related
game?
They made something game-realized.
Yeah.
I think Telltale made it. And there were action figures all over the place that I would see constantly. And every time I was just like, one of these days I'm going to just sit down and read this thing. And I just never did for some reason.
Well,
I'm not really sure why.
It's huge. I remember when I bought it a while back when it was just, there was a giant paperback version of it that's like, what, 2,700, like 3,000 pages or something like that.
And I'd find it everywhere.
Yeah. And it was the whole thing. And I remember sitting down. It's like, it's not even the sort of thing you can read in one sitting, even if you're a serial comic book reader. And it's good. It's really interesting. And it goes and goes and goes. It kind of reminds me of like, Cerberus, but if Cerberus hadn't turned into horrible garbage,
anti-everything kind of thing.
But yeah, it's a really interesting story. I don't know. My fear, if I had one, would be that no matter how popular it isn't popular enough for them to get all the way to the end of the series because it is a long series and it is an epic series. And
they've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah. I feel like it's been one of those things where they've been trying to adapt it, and it's never really worked out. I hope that it works, though. I mean, I think it would be really good. I think it would be really good if it did, because it's a very charming story.
Yeah.
But it also has enough. It's kind of one of those things where I feel like it's kind of it never gets. I don't think it ever gets. It does get dark. It does get somewhat violent, but I don't think it's so violent that kids couldn't watch it. It's not like Berserk or anything.
Yeah, because it was everywhere. Like it was in like toy stores and stuff. Like I'd never read it, but I heard toys of it everywhere.
Yeah,
which was crazy to me that like something would be that popular that I didn't know anyone who had read it at that point.
Yeah, it's like a real like a niche. Like Doctor Who or something, right?
Yeah,
where
kind of.
You could totally have missed it, but the people that are fans of it are just like raving.
They're rabid.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
No.
But yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not for me at least. Anyway, well, some of the favorite comics you read as a kid and would like to one day see made into a show or cartoon? X-Men. Since they've never made a good X-Men anything, all X-Men has been terrible.
Yeah, everything that I'm a big fan of has kind of had a cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that I want to have a cartoon or something now, or stuff that I read in like my late like maybe my 18, 19 kind of years, or my early 20s, like Chew and Invincible.
Invincible
kind of
would be really cool.
I would love for something Invincible related.
Talk about a show that's not suitable for children.
Fuck yeah. That comic is so fucking violent.
It is really violent.
And it has a crossover with Spider-Man and the Tick at one point.
Does it?
Yeah, there's a Tick crossover and a Spider-Man crossover. And the Spider-Man crossover is actually part of its actual continuity, which is my favorite thing about the Spider-Man one. And it's funny because the guy who writes, or not the guy, the artist for it, did some Spider-Man comics recently.
Okay.
And every time I read it, I kept expecting something massively violent to happen.
Yeah.
Because my mind was so used to seeing that art style and having something horrible happen.
Yeah.
I just kept waiting for it the entire time.
For anybody who doesn't know, Invincible is kind of
it's Robert Kirkman's other famous thing.
It's not entirely like Brightburn, but it's like there's a kid. And his I mean I'm gonna go into like the synopsis, but I'm not gonna talk to go into great detail. Basically, a kid, his dad's a superhero, and then one day he gets superhero powers, and then he finds out that his dad isn't actually like
isn't the good guy he thought he was.
Right, that his dad is kind of a bad guy who's been kind of tricking everybody. And so like there's a lot of points in that, and then it goes from there, right? It's all
that's
these,
like the first issue too.
All these wonderful characters and story arcs, but there's some points where you have like these Superman fights where imagine if Superman didn't give a shit about hurting people and like punching holes in people, and then you get some like Superman on Superman fights where you've got like two incredibly powerful super people like tearing each other's faces off.
It's fucking
and like
amazing.
ripping out intestines and stuff, and it's just like, good lord. And the fact that they're all brightly colored super people drawn in this very kind of clean style or whatever, and then you get into these things where it's just like, good God Almighty.
I would love for because Robert Kirkman, The Walking Dead, like exploded in popularity, but like Invincible just hasn't really took off in any way. He actually finished Invincible this year, like in February, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's completely done.
I need to go back and read that whole thing again.
Yeah, that's what I did. Like I stopped after he. I don't know. I can't say it because it would spoil it, and B, it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
But I stopped after that point, and then there was some other stuff, and then so I picked up again from that point, and I think I had a great ending, to be honest.
Okay.
Like personally,
that's good.
And it's up to I think it was I want to say it was 141. I think was the number.
Oh, it only had that many?
Something like that.
It started like a decade ago, right?
It started a long time ago, but I would have to be sure though. And they sell them in these giant fuck off like omnibuses.
Oh, okay.
Like, giant chunks of them. I don't know if any of this. I don't know if the Spider-Man one is in any of them or the Tick one. The Tick one's really fun because what it is like a bad guy's trying to fight the Tick. It's like, I brought over an Ultramite or whatever, and it's just invincible. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And my favorite part is when they talk to each other, and he's just like, oh, my name's Invincible, and Tick's like, nah, invulnerable. He's like, what? I thought we were naming our superpowers or whatever. It's so much fun.
And then I think Chew, for anybody who doesn't know, Chew is great. Chew's it's a very weird.
That also ended.
Hard-boiled detective story about a guy who can glean like what has happened by eating a part of a thing. Like he can see the history of a thing. And
like if he has a burger, he knows where that cow was raised, where it was slaughtered, what it was eating.
So all he eats is what is it? Beets?
Well, he can only eat beets without it giving him those things.
Right. And so he's a cop, and you guys can imagine there's been a homicide, and there's a cop who could figure out what happened by doing. There's a reason it's called Chew. There's a reason it's called Chew. But like it very quickly gets real weird.
It gets fucking insane so fast because you find out there's other people with different things that happen if they eat stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Like there's a guy, if he eats certain things, he learns like how to make it, kind of thing.
And the whole I never got that far into it, but then that whole world is this world where like because of like bird flu, it's illegal to eat chicken.
Yeah, chicken is outlawed because in the beginning, like according to the beginning, a bunch of people just died all of a sudden.
Yeah,
who had chicken, and they blamed it on bird flu. But the idea is that like it might not have been bird flu, so there's this whole conspiracy as well.
And then there's like underground chicken speakeasies.
Yeah, there's underground chicken speakeasies. There's people who are trying to figure out ways of making chicken kind of thing, but not really.
Right.
Kind of thing. Like there's such crazy fucking shit going on in that entire world.
I think it'd be good for that'd be good for an Amazon series.
It absolutely would be amazing.
Kind of like The Boys, but
exactly
clean it up a little bit because it's. I never got that far into it, but as near as I could tell, it doesn't get like super fantastical. Or
no,
I don't know if it
kind of does eventually. Like there's some bad guys that become a little more super fantastical. And did you ever get to Pollo?
I don't believe so.
Pollo, okay.
It's been so long since
I've
read that.
This is my favorite thing that happens in this entire thing. So eventually there's a rooster that he meets named Pollo that is so powerful it can beat anything it fights. Like, period. And so, like, every now and then, like, it'll cut to, like, it's like, I wonder what Pollo's up to. And it shows him, like, fighting, like, a giant monster or something.
Okay.
Just, like, batshit insane things that's going on with Pollo. And eventually, like, it becomes cybernetic because it loses, like, it almost dies in this fight. It's fucking crazy as shit. Because his partner's the same way. Like, in the first issue, he gets, like, takes a butcher knife to the face.
Yeah.
And so he becomes cybernetic.
Okay.
And he sleeps with like every one of his bosses for some reason. It's the best, guys. You should read Chew. It's really good.
If I had to pick something from, when I was really young, I read garbage comics. I read Jim Lee's X-Men and like Wildcats, and I was real into Rob Liefeld
and like cartoons about some of that stuff too.
Yeah. But if I had to pick, if there was any comic in the world that I could make into a TV show, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, and if you ask me, I'll tell you 8 more times, it's Transmetropolitan. Because Transmetropolitan is not only a great concept for a show, especially when you look at some of the stuff like Weird City or some of the kind of near future stuff that we've had going on, but the story of Transmetropolitan, of it's essentially the story of this horrible journalist named Spider Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And he's been on the mountain taking drugs. He leaves the city, which is just this gigantic mega city.
Yeah.
And he has to come back because he owes his publisher a book. And so he comes back, and the only thing he can do is be a journalist. And it's this really far out future where everybody's doing drugs all the time. And like, there's a lot of just craziness. There's people that have like gene spliced with like gray aliens. And he's a horrible piece of shit son of a bitch. He's the worst. He's on drugs all the time. He's shitty, but he tells the truth. And so it's him and these two women who end up being, one is his bodyguard, and the other is his assistant. And they basically do journalism. And then there's a meta plot that happens over the course of the series that ends up being the main plot for like the back third of the series about this insane man who becomes president of the United States, who has a personal vendetta with a figure in the news media, who also has this personal vendetta against this crazy, amoral president. I kind of think Transmetropolitan would be an interesting show to watch nowadays.
It would be great. Yeah, nowadays it would. Oh my god, I'm amazed it hasn't been greenlit for something now.
Yeah,
it feels like I feel like people have been trying to get that made for a while. I wouldn't be surprised.
For most of the series, Spider Jerusalem he has a bowel disruptor that makes people shit themselves, and that's his primary weapon through most of the series. Is he shoots people, and at one point
you have seen panels of this on the internet like a lot.
Oh yeah, like, if you look up Spider Jerusalem, you've seen the glasses. It's a one red circle glass and one green rectangle glass. It was one of my jokes where he shoots one of these cops with a bowel disruptor, and Shannon his bodyguard is like, "Wow, you knocked him out. How did you do that?" And he's like, the setting is shat into unconsciousness. But I think that Spider Jerusalem is a really interesting character. I think there's a lot of people that you could cast as him. But you know what? Before we move on, because we've been asked about comic books and we do 15 minutes on comic books.
We can talk about comics forever.
Michael, I know that you're on my side with this. If I could pick outside of Transmetropolitan, if I could pick one existing comic book character to be made into a TV show or a movie correctly, it would be Superman.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Superman has been so badly served with movies and television shows for the last since the animated series.
Did you hear about that canceled or not canceled? It was a pitch that they turned down not too long ago. The guys who made Spectacular Spider-Man, the artist for it specifically, he drew a series of Superman. It's him, his son, Jonathan Kent from the new stuff, Crypto, like just the entire Super family.
Yeah,
and they wanted to make this Silver Age type Superman show for the DC thing, and it looked great. Like he has a whole they had a whole chunk of it. They pitched it and they turned it down. I was so fucking upset when I found out this happened.
I mean, see, the thing is that even DC has been poorly serving Superman as far as I could.
It's frustrating
from my perspective. When I stopped reading comic books a while back, but when I watched the animated adaptations of the New 52 Superman, I'm like, I don't like this guy.
He sucks.
Fuck this guy.
He didn't really become Superman until the end of it, and then he died right after that. And I was like, come on, guys.
Because I honestly think that Superman is an important and interesting cultural character, and that we need a bastion of like the person who does the big blue Boy Scout. We need a symbol of like goodness who can't be pushed around, and he's fucking Superman, man.
That's why I think Death of Superman, that newest one, was so good. Because he was just that character throughout the whole movie. And then they fucked it up with Return of Superman right after that.
Oh, yeah.
Reign of the Superman.
I watched that one, and then I didn't go to the next one. But
yeah, Reign of the Superman is awful. At least I hated it.
Yeah, poor Superman. Poor Superman.
Yeah.
Someday I'll tell you all about my pitch for a Superman comic, and it fixes everything. That's right. Just gotta wait.
Max Landis.
Just gotta wait. It even fixes Max Landis.
Punches him in the space.
Mauricio writes in again and says, "Hey guys, Mauricio here." And he says, if you go to Platinum Spider-Man, you don't have to play on New Game Plus. I know that. I think I said it last time, but it was only like beating the game on hard, and I decided to do it on New Game Plus. So
there's another thing for Super Platinum or whatever.
Basically, I'm not going into all this.
Because they added more things to it. So.
I don't care about platinuming Spider-Man. I don't give a shit about getting platinum medals. I don't give a shit about medals in general.
Unless it's Metal Slug.
No, I don't give
really?
a shit.
Metal Slug is great.
Well, no, but I don't give a shit about platinuming Metal Slug.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about metals in general.
No, I mean, like, metals are great. They're strong, and you make stuff out of them.
They doesn't afraid of anything.
Anyway, the question here is, with Death Stranding a few weeks away, I'm really nervous the game might be a disappointment. So what was a movie/anime game, etc., that you were super hyped for but left you disappointed? And that's from Mauricio.
So many.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't get my hopes up high for stuff at this point, because I've gotten kicked in the nuts a lot. A lot of times I've been kicked in my balls, metaphorically, by things. Yeah.
That happens a lot, guys. It happens to me all the time once they announce something Ghostbusters related for a while. Every time, or at least not comic-wise, every time they were like, we're going to make a new game, I was like, yay! And then it was that fucking twin stick shooter from the 2016 movie. And then happened before that with Sanctum of Slime.
Yeah.
And I was very frustrated by that. And then every time fucking they announce something Superman related that isn't like, they're like, oh, we're going to make a new Superman movie. And then we get fucking Man of Steel. And they're like, oh, Batman Superbad movie. Sounds awesome. When we get fucking Batman v Superbad.
I actually didn't hate him in Justice League. Like,
he's great in Justice League.
It was because they were like, Joss Whedon had redone him to be more.
He's allowed to smile and
regular
shit.
Superman.
It's the
best.
And recently it was Gundam. This happened a while back. Gundam Reconquista, because it was supposed to take place right after the UC timeline, and it was so bad, and I was so upset by that entire thing. And they announced not too long ago they're redoing it as a series of movies.
Yeah.
And they're adding some of the stuff they couldn't animate originally.
Okay.
And I don't give a fuck, because fuck Gundam Reconquista. That thing is so fucking bad. You guys stay the fuck away from Gundam Reconquista. Because that shit, I love the mobile suit in it, but that shit is bullshit. Fuck everybody in that show.
See, for me, I've already gotten to the point where I'm like, there are like 5 Gundam franchises that I just don't give a shit about. So I ain't gonna. I mean, I don't know. The one that I always bring up for always and forever, I will never stop complaining, is fucking Jurassic Park Trespasser.
Oh, okay.
That I thought was going to be this just like dramatic, dynamic, brand new thing that nobody had ever seen before. And then I got it, and I was just like, "Oh no, it sucks." It was
nothing like anything anybody's seen before.
Really, really, really bad.
It's like Surgeon Simulator.
Yeah. Yep.
Except not fun.
Except you have to look at Mini Driver's boobs the entire time.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been disappointed by an anime, because I don't know that I've let myself get. I mean, like,
I know a lot of people were disappointed by the newest One Punch Man season.
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah.
I was. Yes, I was. And going into it, I was like, well, if the story is good, then like it doesn't have to have the same animation quality, but the story was pretty good, and then I realized that like no, the animation, like, okay. If One Punch Man Season 2 was like 70% the animation of One Punch Man Season 1, it would have been fine. But like, one of the things that makes One Punch Man so fun is the very dramatic fight scenes, and they were just animated in a way flatter way in Season 2. You know, that whole part at the end of Season 1 where the Cyclops guy is kicking his ass and punch him into the moon.
That's amazing.
It's just like great. And then it doesn't help that Mob Psycho 100 Season 2 was like probably even better than the first season. Like, it was so fucking good, and it was so well animated and so just like artistic. Yeah, that's definitely one. I'm trying to just think of other animes, because like, oh no, Naruto ended and I'm mad at it.
I was for a while I was disappointed with the beginning of Dragon Ball Super, because the beginning of Dragon Ball Super is they basically made sagas out of the 2 movies they made.
Yeah.
Battle of Gods and Resurrection F. And the animation for a while was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really, really bad. Like, it was a meme for a long time from how bad it was. And then sometime just before the Universe 8 tournament is where it just all of a sudden it got a lot better.
Yeah.
And then from there, I just really liked that show again from then.
I had some hopes for Rage 2.
Oh, yeah.
And it kind of ended up just being a little dull, a little boring. And it is, You know, I didn't expect Fallout 4 not to last either.
Yeah, that was one that fucked with a lot of people for a while.
And I started playing it, and it was like, okay, this is fine. And then as it went on, I was kind of just like, no. I just I've played Fallout 3 a bunch of times. Like I've just gone back and played Fallout 3.
Ooh, I have one that I know everyone will agree with me on.
Yeah,
Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
Nothing game wise has quite disappointed me like Street Fighter 5. Because I remember when Street Fighter Cross Tekken was considered my biggest video game fighting disappointment,
Right.
Because it was the whole on disc DLC, all that stuff. But that game was complete when it came out. Whereas Street Fighter 5 was just some of the worst fucking $60 bullshit I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like nothing topped how barren that game was until Fallout 76 came out, basically. But I didn't care about Fallout 76 when that got announced. Yeah, Street Fighter 5, it didn't have an arcade mode. Its story mode that it had was so easy, somebody put a baby in front of an arcade stick and they beat it, kind of thing.
Okay.
It had a survival mode that was really annoying because if you lost, you just lost an hour of your life, kind of thing.
Yep.
It only had the online mode basically, and it was just there was nothing. There was 12 characters, probably not even, kind of thing, and there was very few levels. There was nothing. There was literally nothing. There wasn't even an arcade mode.
They put it out so they could get because they had a tournament they wanted to.
They're trying to catch up to the Capcom Grand Tour, I think was the name of it.
Yeah.
Capcom World Grand Tour or something like that. Yeah, they were just we gotta get it out so we can meet that. But it was a $60 game from launch. And I was just well, maybe, and it's all of the servers were fucking dead, so you couldn't even play it for the first 4 hours, kind of thing. It was bad, the whole entire experience of Street Fighter 5. And then after a while, it got a little bit better because it still plays really well. And then they came out with the very disappointing story mode that they had promised. They eventually came out with an arcade mode, and they kept saying we're not going to do a Super Street Fighter 4 or whatever or kind of thing. We're not going to pull that shit on you. And then they pulled that shit on me.
Yep.
Literally right after that. And I was just I am completely and utterly done with Street Fighter 5. And I just haven't really played it again. I still have my copy of it because I was stupid enough to not trade it in when it was worth something. And I still have it. And it's one of the most disappointing games I've ever owned to this day.
I think I put in one more for Final Fantasy 15. Really broke the streak that I'd had on just liking and playing Final Fantasy games.
Oh, okay.
And 15, it was just I don't know what's going on, and I don't care to find out. I'm going to go play something that I give a shit about. I was looking forward to that game since it was called Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Yeah, it was
right?
its original title.
I've been watching it not develop for years, and then it finally came out, and it was wow, it's finally the day. And it was oh, no.
Yay. Marvel's Capcom Infinite, but I don't even want to begin on that one.
All right, I tell you what, let's do some Discord questions. Let's see if I get to the last one that we had. Let's see. Puffin Stuff says, "Howdy Ragers, I'd like to thank y'all for recommending Cargill's book, Sea of Rust. It was dope, and I love the interesting narration techniques used. A couple small tangentially related. Has reading sci-fi ever inspired you to try your hand at writing something, be it a novel or a short story? And unrelated, have you tried the level 3 Zaku cannon with the MP80 in Gun and Battle Operations 2? Shit is amazing. Thanks, Jeff and Michael."
I have not, but that sounds amazing.
I've been drifting back to. I was kind of GM centric there for a while, but I'm kind of moving back in the Zaku direction. I've really been figuring out. It's when you get a level 3 GM trainer with a level 3 machine gun is better than a level 1 GM with the level 1 machine gun and a shield. And so it's
that game's great, guys. You have no idea. It's the tits.
I like it a lot. In fact, I need to log in today. I need to get my daily login bonus.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing? Podcast is over. Thanks for writing in. No, I'm just kidding. Have you ever thought about writing anything?
Oh yeah, back when I was a teenager, up until I think 22, I was really wanting to write something, and I was really good at writing scripts back then.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a terrible writer now because I haven't done it in a long time.
Out of practice.
Yeah, I'm just super out of practice. I one time I tried 2 years ago. I sat down in front of a computer and just stared at it. I was like, okay, now. No, just nothing was like I couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Because when I was taking college, I could literally like come up with like a 30-page script in like 2 hours kind of thing. Like I was really good at it. And like when I was taking film courses, I remember it was one of those things where it's like you had to film something.
Yeah.
And I finished like my entire thing within like 3 days compared to everybody else's. Because I used to, like I said, I used to write a lot. I still would like to go back eventually and write something, write I want to say my magnum opus, but I don't really know what my magnum opus would be, kind of thing. Or if it would be a book or a script or something, kind of thing, or even just like a short story.
I've had a few ideas over the years. I've actually thought about I've thought about taking my Superman idea that I came up with a while back and trying to like basically, you do the thing where you just change it into something else.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's just so Superman. Like it's such a Superman story that changing it too much would end up being. It's like, I've thought about the way that like Lex Luthor is integrated into this whole arc in this universe, and so it's like, well, you're just going to make somebody that's Lex Luthor, but they're not called Lex Luthor, and like where does Jimmy Olsen and Lois fit into this? And so it's like, like I really just need DC to be like, hey Jeff, we listen to a podcast. We heard you got an idea. We want to give you the new Superman book, and you just write whatever you want to it. Who cares if you fuck up our continuity? And
like we fired Bendis. It's all on you now.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
I've had a couple ideas for books, but they're mostly just in the real high tier conceptual stages.
Oh, okay.
I have two ideas for sci-fi books, and I have had this idea for a long time for a horror movie. I actually had two ideas, but one of them I feel like somebody already kind of made it, because there's a series. They're up to 3. I saw them on Shudder. It's called like Dude Bro Frat Massacre.
Oh, it's made by the guys who do 5-second films.
Oh, okay.
That's who makes those.
Yeah, which I had this idea a long time ago of like just make a gender bent slasher movie.
Also, I don't remember if they actually made one or two. I think they were just skits they did originally, and then they just made a full thing.
I was thinking just like you get some like Brienne of Tarth looking woman, and then put like a Leatherface mask on her, and then it's basically just a slasher movie, but it's just reversed, where it's like this hulking woman in a mask like chopping up frat guys and then just do it that way, right? Just take that whole thing and just flip it around the other way. But it's not so much of an original idea anymore. I do have one though that I feel like I haven't seen happen before, but it would take a very deft script and a very deft execution, and I've had it in my brain for a long time. The main issue is that I don't have time to do anything. I actually have about 5 different ideas for video games, and if I had free time, it's the sort of thing that I will not go into the details of, but like one of the games that I would like to make has literally gotten to like pre-production kind of thoughts phase of lining stuff up. Like nothing is touched, no like ink has touched a piece of paper yet, but to the point where like if I was getting paid to make a game, I know the game I would start with, I know the people that I would hire, and I know I kind of know the roadmap and what texts I would be using to try to make a thing, and I would start tomorrow. The main thing is just that running a YouTube channel expands to fill as much of your life as you let it.
Yeah.
And I fight back against getting like 3 hours a day to not do this. So I can't really do that. I've thought about doing the sci-fi thing, but my 2 sci-fi ideas are still kind of half-baked. I actually have 3 sci-fi ideas and I merged 2 of them, but you could split those apart because I still don't have a whole idea.
All I know is all of this stuff is very possible. I spoke to a coworker who had a book that his friend made. Yeah. That was a really bad Superman story about a dude with superpowers who stopped 9/11. And it was one of the worst things I've ever read in my entire life. So anyone can write, kind of.
100%. 100%. Let's see. IT Johan writes in and says, greetings once again, gracious hosts. I found the book. Oh, he wrote it in about the web book.
Oh, he found it?
Yeah. I had to go back to my roots and visit the library I first got it from. And with the libraries there, we found it.
Fuck yeah, the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, being there reminded me of some of the good memories I had from the library. I borrowed the original Star Wars trilogy from there, beginning the spark that made me the geek I am today. I also checked out well over 70 books from the library, giving me a way to sate my appetite for books. So when was the last time that either one of you went to the library? And do you have any great memories related to the library?
I have a few.
Yeah?
A few memories. But I answer first with the last time I was at a library. It was 2015.
Mm-hmm.
I was printing out resumes at the library, as well as just reading random comics that I found at the library. Because as I was waiting to do stuff. I think one of my favorite memories. There's two specific ones that I have. One of them is that when I was really young, I was not super young. I was like freshman in high school. I went to the library, and comic book shops didn't really exist where I grew up in. But somebody had given the library this fuck off giant chunk of Spider-Man comics. And I just checked out all of them. And I would read them, return one, read one, return it, and I just did this for like a month straight because this guy had given them so many of them.
So that's the reason.
That's why. It kind of is what started off the actual comic book part of it. Because I was already obsessed with Spider-Man before this point. But that was that was the moment that it turned into, I can read a bunch of crazy shit that happens kind of thing.
Okay.
It was all the J. Michael Straczynski stuff.
Okay.
And I own all of that stuff now, but back then, I didn't have any of it. And that was one of my first favorite memories. One of them is actually super, super recent. I was going to the ACC. That's off of Metric, as people know or people could look it up. It's the
Northridge.
The names of the Northridge.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had something stuck in my throat. And that's where I met Kat. Of Leog, if there's people don't know.
Yeah.
And because I met Kat there, I eventually ended up meeting the rest of you. kind of thing. And so me meeting Kat there, and it's funny because I was listening to the Leog as I walked past her, and I heard her voice, and I was like, wait a second. I was like, I know that voice. Apparently I was the first person that ever recognized her based off of just her voice, is what she had told me. And yeah, she invited me to the Halloween party that Kayla was doing that year. Okay. And then that's how I met everybody. And I met you were dressed as the most interesting man in the world. Mm-hmm. And I had a fake whip with me, and you were super drunk, and you're like, let me try whipping things, and you're just trying to whip things with this thing.
That sounds about right. That sounds like Drunk Jeff.
It was it was one of my favorite.
That's actually the last time that I made an effort to dress up.
And it was very impressive. Yeah. You were carrying a thing of
I brought a 12-pack of Dos Equis. And people are like, oh, man, I'm so sorry you have to drink that crappy beer to go with your costume. And I'm like, no, I chose this.
Yeah, you were drinking it the whole night. But yeah, the library was literally the reason I started meeting everybody.
No, cool.
And then from there, it just sort of escalated.
I don't have that many library stories. A lot of it, when I was a kid, we used to go to the library. And then I remember that when we went to the library, I would always look at they didn't have a lot of comics back then. This was before libraries started carrying as many comics. Yeah. Because I'm talking about when I was like 5, so we're talking about like 1983. But what they did have was they had bound, they had Asterix and Obelisk. I don't know if you know that European comic about the Vikings, the Gauls or whatever. And then they had The Adventures of Tintin. Oh, okay. And so I would look at those because they were. I was a little young to be, checking stuff out of the library. Yeah. So then I think that. So that was a public library, and then throughout my time in school, we went to the school library. Yeah. So like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I only know of because of the school library. Wrinkle in Time, those kind of things. But then a lot of the books that we got, we had to buy. We had to buy just paperback. It was just paperback version. So I never really got as much of that stuff out from the library. And then when I was a teenager was around the time when like Borders and Barnes and Noble started being a thing. Mm-hmm. And when I was a late teens, when I after I got out of high school, I went and got these like tech pay. It was the 90s. It was tech jobs that paid way too much. Yeah. So I just go and buy books. So I actually have like somewhere in this house, there's like a box that's got something like 200 paperbacks in it or something like that. Okay. Just all the stuff that I ever bought. I took it all off of the bookshelf that's in my bedroom, so my ex could have a place to put her stuff. Then she didn't put anything there. So, but it wasn't like I was using them or anything.
I just remembered 2 specific memories that got jogged from my head. Oh. The first was when I was in 6th grade and discovered a book that had cursing in it. Oh. And it was the greatest thing in my life at the time because I never considered the idea that a school library would have books that involved a lot of cursing in it.
Yeah.
As well as the idea that there's nudity somewhere happening within this world. It was like the sci-fi story. I don't even remember the name of it anymore. But I remember being like obsessed with this, like the idea that this was the thing that you could find in the school library. I was like, well, I'm gonna check this thing out. It was a terrible story, by the way. But I just remember it being like,
hey, it had
was an
boobs and
interesting
bad
thing.
words, though.
Yeah,
so.
that I had to use my imagination for, which I thought was funny to me. Now that I think about it. My second one is I had to do a school project in 9th grade. And we went to the local city library instead of the school library.
Yeah.
And we had the film, or not film. It was supposed to be like you either had to write a paper about World War II or was like a radio broadcast of World War II.
Oh, man.
And you get me and my old friend from high school, Miguel Salinas, and we made possibly the stupidest fucking, like, it was basically a parody because we just thought it would be funny to make this really shitty like idea because he did a really good like fake British accent, and so the idea was that he was like a radio broadcaster in Britain as it was getting bombed, and I was just some dude that was like on the scene somewhere.
Oh, okay.
And it was really funny because like in the middle of it, he gets hit with a bomb or something, and he wakes up. He's like, "I'm badly bleeding. Somebody has taken my wallet for some reason."
All right.
And we showed it to our teacher, and she's just like, "I'm not showing this to everybody else, but I will give you an A for effort." I was like, I'll take it.
Oh, okay. Well, this is the last one. When I was a kid, I remember, my parents when they first moved to this town. First off, cable was really expensive and wasn't really as widely available. Like because they moved. I mean, I was born in '78, right? So we're talking like this is a story from like 80, 81, right?
Oh, okay.
So we had like, local 5 stations on the television, right? Actually, I think it was like 3. It was like PBS, CBS, NBC, and that was it. There was nothing else. So my dad used to just read books in the library. They used to just go and read books. And so he would go down to the UT Public Library, and he would bring me along with him when I was a little baby. And I remember it very hazily. But I remember because he would always take me down there, and then he would buy like a soda, like a Pepsi, and he would let me have a sip of the Pepsi, and I would sip it, and then I would make this horrible, just like, yeah, baby face. And then all of his friends in the library would just, oh, cute baby. And then we would get an egg roll from this egg roll vendor that was outside of down in the drag before it got all crazy.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the earliest memories that I remember outside of throwing up a lot. I threw up a lot when I was a kid, and I don't know why. But I just remember, here it comes. Blat. There it went.
Oh, jeez.
So.
Libraries are great, people.
Yeah. I haven't been to a library in years. Maybe they're absolutely fantastic now.
Apparently there's a super fucking nice one like somewhere here in Austin that everyone was like messaging and tweeting about kind of thing.
I think there's a lot.
But this was like a super new one apparently. It's like 2 stories and it's like gorgeous as hell or something.
I passed one today. It was over on Steck Avenue.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Let's see. What kind of time do we got? We got a little bit more time. Let's see what we got going on here. Here's a good one. Mike writes in and says, "Hey guys, another genre hybridization question. Sliding tile puzzles have become a staple of gaming since, well, Flash games really. And I was trying to think of other genres to put that mechanic into. Perhaps say rearranging terrain tiles in a tactics RPG or such. What genres do you think this mechanic would work in outside of pure puzzlers? Have an excellent Friday." And that's from Mike.
It actually shows up in Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
It's one of the Riddler's trials.
Oh, yeah. Because you got to use like the magnet gun or something and move them around.
Yeah. Because I literally just did that like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So that was my first thought. But yeah, action adventure games would use that.
Tactics RPG seems pretty interesting using it as a map type of thing.
I see a platformer would be pretty good with it.
I could definitely see something like FTL, or not FTL, Into the Breach.
Oh,
but having something like that where it's like a very simple thing, but then you can also, like, you can move, but then the computer can move. Maybe there's like a rotate, move tile, flip tile type of thing.
I definitely could see something like that.
I feel like it's been in a lot of stuff.
Well, it's a very easy mechanic, and it tends to be a puzzle that happens in a lot of random things.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think platformers use them more often than not.
You know, what'd be really cool is maybe if you had like a game, like if you had like an action game where like maybe you'd have to enhance it a little bit, but maybe like have one of those things, but then have it be like like make it like a Vanquish gun where your gun changes, but then it changes depending on how you move this thing around, and then have it be the sort of thing where, you know, if you want sniper rifle, shit, I gotta okay, that's sniper rifle, okay, that's rocket launcher, and you know, it's probably just got control on the brain, because control's got the one gun that switches into different things. Or I can actually see it being like a magic system, like maybe something like Magicka, where like depending on how you have the pattern put together makes you have different spell effects or something like that.
I could see that working.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of work though, because that's the issue with those is they're people get very frustrated with them very quickly.
I've always been really good at them, and I don't feel like I ever get like. I felt like at one time, a long time ago, I did one really fast, and everybody was like, "Ooh, wow, you're so good at those," and I was just made it my goal to figure out. I know, audience, I know. Every time they come up in a video game, I get flustered. I can't do them well. Whereas if I'm sitting here by myself and there's nobody watching me, I'm just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's done.
Well, because we don't have to talk in the middle of those.
Yeah,
kind of thing. That's the thing people forget about. That's the thing people don't realize about these Let's Plays, is that your mind is in like 2 different places.
Yeah,
it's very difficult.
You know which one I can't do though? The cars. You know, the little like you like the limo and the taxi and the pickup truck, and you've got to like move it around. I've always been very bad at the cars puzzle.
Those are frustrating. I remember the first time I ever had to do one of the slider puzzles. It was it was a thing I got in like Mexico that came with something. Yeah, and I was just like fucking with it. It's like if you move it, it does the clown. Like it has like a clown picture in the corner. You have to like try to reveal it by moving all the slide stuff.
I feel like when
fucking hard.
I feel like when I was a kid that they used to come as toys out of like the capsule machines, or like a
I know like old
like in a cereal box, yeah, something like that.
When Cracker Jacks actually had actual prizes in them instead of just like paper.
Cracker Jacks suck.
Yep.
God, they suck.
They were only good for those prizes, and now they're not good at all.
Damn, just fiddle faddle. I'm a fiddle faddle man. You keep your Cracker Jack.
Remember Bazooka Gum? The thing was like a rock.
Oh God, Bazooka Gum was the worst.
It's like a rock. But it had these little shitty comics.
Okay, I'm gonna ask my own question. What is the worst candy? We're almost at Halloween, right? Yeah. What is the worst candy that you get in your Halloween bucket? What is the candy that is the lowest on the list that you eat last?
It used to be candy corn for a while.
I fucking hate candy corn so much.
Candy corn is just like,
hey, do you like candy? We're going to put butter in it. Do you like butter in your candy? No? Too bad. And you know what? The people that like candy corn are never going to shut up about how much they like candy corn and coming and throwing rocks at you for not liking candy corn.
Lewis Black has probably my favorite like joke about candy corn. He's like, all the candy corn was made in 1912. And what they do is that's why they never advertise it, and all it is what everybody throws it away. They just collect it all again,
just put it back in a bag,
and then just sell it again because no one fucking eats it.
And I hate that they sneak that shit into other stuff like those pumpkins.
Oh yeah,
that are just candy corn, and it's like fuck you, that's more candy corn.
It's so frustrating.
What about Smarties?
I like Smarties.
Smarties?
I remember when I had my Max Payne outfit?
Yeah.
That pill bottle was just full of Smarties.
Okay.
Because they look like I used to just eat. I was just eating shit tons of them.
What about like Necco wafers?
I forgot about those.
Yeah, like bad Smarties.
Yeah, they're like bad Smarties kind of thing.
What about those black and orange like peanut butter toffee candies that just stick to your teeth and they suck ass?
What about those like the ones that like they have like strawberry wrappers for some reason?
Like the metal strawberry
those are
wrapper.
Fucking garbage.
And they just taste like I like those quite a bit actually.
They're loser candy.
Or okay, which is worse? Circular disc red cellophane cinnamon candy or circular disc yellow butterscotch candy? Which one is worse candy?
The cinnamon one.
The cinnamon one?
Because the butterscotch one at least is somewhat edible.
Uh-huh.
Whereas that cinnamon was just garbage.
Cinnamon candy is such a weird, it's like black licorice. Like,
it's really bad.
Like, do you ever have anybody that like really likes hot tamales and you're just like...
Yeah, a lot of cousins really like hot tamales.
Which one is the worst of the box of capsule candy? Because there's like Mike and Ike's and Good and Plenty's, and what's the grape and then white one?
Oh,
like yogurt and garbage or whatever.
I don't know the names of them, but they're really bad.
I think hot tamales.
Hot tamales aren't great.
What is the worst candy bar? What's the candy bar that is the worst candy bar?
It's Mounds, I think.
Yeah, the coconut. You don't like the coconut?
Those aren't great. They're pretty bad. Or not it's bad, but they're not very good either. It's tough because there used to be one that was my go-to, but I don't remember the name of it anymore because I haven't had one in so long. Because I don't have to now as an adult. I can choose my actual candy.
Okay, what's the best candy bar?
I'm a big fan of Crunch bars.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Crunch bars.
I like a Big Cat.
Big Cat.
Just one giant Kit Kat.
Oh, those? Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatchamacallit? I think whatchamacallits are there.
Whatchamacallits are pretty good. I miss when they made Wonka bars.
Yeah.
It's not really a thing anymore because they stopped making anything Wonka related.
What about Butterfingers?
Butterfingers? I just watched like half an hour worth of Bart Simpson Butterfinger commercials.
Okay.
Because my roommate,
Why?
My roommate got. I was with it was my roommate's birthday, a couple days ago, and he's like, you know what? I feel like watching because he had the DVDs out. And he was like, just like there was an extra about just commercials. And he's like, I wonder if I can find a video that's just only Simpsons commercials. And there's a video on YouTube that's an hour and 5 minutes long.
Oh my God.
Of just every Simpsons type commercial somebody could find.
Oh my God.
Whether it was a Burger King thing, a Butterfinger thing, some sort of candy, one of the games, a Japanese only drink, so it's a Japanese only commercial.
Okay.
There was one that was like a French only detergent commercial.
Okay.
Kind of thing. It was fucking crazy. And I sat there for like an hour watching Bart Simpson just talk about Butterfingers or kind of thing. And I was like, I realized there's so many goddamn Butterfinger commercials. It was like the ice cream one too. It was fucking crazy.
So trying to think of what the worst one is.
Mr. Gooden something was the name of it.
Mr. Goodbar?
Mr. Goodbar.
Yeah.
I haven't had one in so long. I don't remember if they were good or not.
I'm not a big fan of dark or white chocolate.
Oh, fuck white chocolate candy bars.
Yeah.
Especially Hershey's white chocolate candy bars. Ugh. They're pure garbage.
Yeah.
Like, who wants any of those things?
Somebody is furiously typing right now to tell you how much they like the white chocolate.
And you're wrong. I'd rather hang out with the guy who wants the dark chocolate bar.
You know what? I still think I'd rather eat anything that we've said than candy corn. It's
so bad.
Circus peanuts, maybe? But that you don't get circus peanuts for Halloween.
Not really. Not anymore, at least. It used to be a thing for a while.
Yeah. I'd rather get an apple than candy corn. I'd rather get a toothbrush. I'd rather get a folded up prayer to Jesus than candy corn, because you know what? At least I can have the satisfaction of throwing that in the trash on Satan's night, rather than eating candy corn and being like, why am I doing this? And it's like, it's the only sugar that's left. Did you trade when you did trick or treat when you were a kid?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I didn't really trick or treat as much with people after a while.
Yeah.
Only because I didn't have an outfit a lot of the times.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And when I did have an outfit, it was always one that I had no choice in the matter of. I think one of my worst Halloween memories to this day is that my mom bought a pumpkin outfit.
Oh.
And she's like, "You're gonna wear this," and I was like, "No, no." And she forced me to go to this like Halloween festival thing that my elementary school was doing.
Okay.
So everyone saw me in the goddamn pumpkin outfit.
Oh.
And I was like meeting kids that were dressed like Spider-Man and shit. And I'm like, oh my God, somebody fucking kill me now. And I was like in 4th grade or something like that. It was the goddamn worst.
I saw a thing on the internet yesterday where it was like somebody making fake candy apples, but they were onions.
Oh, really?
They were just dipped in chocolate, and then because they're roughly the same size, they had the stick in them, and I'm just like, interesting.
That's diabolical.
Interesting.
Good diabolical, but diabolical.
Nerds are pretty good candy.
Nerds are great.
I think of a lot of candy now.
Super fucking sweet though.
I do like 100 grand as well.
100 grands are pretty good.
A lot of people don't like 100 grand, but anyway, sorry.
Kit Kats are pretty good.
Sorry, podcast.
Marcus sent me a Japanese only Kit Kat that I thought was pretty good.
That's good.
It's like a green tea Kit Kat.
And you knew that my favorite was the Big Cat. You didn't even. Oh well, it's the green tea one. I don't care about that.
Well, he'd sent it to me like ages ago. So
let's see. Here's a new name. Call Me Mo says, "Hey, Jeff and Mike, I hear from a lot of people on the internet saying that Sony first-party exclusives like Uncharted and God of War, or calling Sony first-party exclusives like Uncharted and God of War non-video games. This is because they focus more on cinematic cutscenes than gameplay, and that people would rather watch it on YouTube than play it. What are your thoughts? Should games focus more on gameplay? Does it even matter?" That's from Call Me Mo. First off, I think I kind of disagree with the entire concept of this argument.
Well, the argument doesn't make sense if you bring up God of War.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of action in God of War.
Well, not only that, but it's got like unlocks and backtracks and like different gear sets.
Like, I can kind of maybe see that argument with some of the Uncharted stuff, but only some of it. Whereas the God of War that completely destroys that argument. But it's one of those things that like if you call those non-games, then Telltale games are definitely non-games kind of thing.
Well, also if it's like a console wars thing, I mean, I feel like Gears of War has shitload of cutscenes in it.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of games are like that now.
Yeah,
people just watch games a lot of the times now.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I don't really get.
I'll be
that
on
one.
YouTube and it'll be like full. It'll say like Spider-Man and it'll say full movie, quote unquote.
Yeah,
kind of things. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, just play fucking Spider-Man.
I've never watched one of those because I'm like, there's stuff that happens in between the cutscenes. Like, I don't feel like cutscenes would work just by themselves.
I had a friend who did that with the Telltale Back to the Futures.
Huh.
Because she didn't have anything that was good enough to run them at the time.
Yeah, and
she just didn't have time to play them because she was going to UT at that point. And so when the new one came out, I played through the whole thing on my end, and she watched the whole thing on her end.
Okay,
and I thought it was fascinating because that person would just do all the right stuff, and I was just fucking around, so I got all the stuff she didn't see, kind of thing. Because that's the thing is like if you do something like that, you miss a lot of things that only you would. Because that's the thing about video games. Your experience is always going to be different than somebody else's.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have that moment. You're going to have that Han Solo moment where you walk into a room full of fucking dudes and you're just like, I'm going to go kind of thing. Like, because it's different from somebody else's. Like, all of the Uncharted stuff, I've had different experiences compared to other people. God of War, everyone's going to have a different experience when it comes to God of War.
I mean, not to say that there's like a different story, but you know, I feel like a lot of times people tend to poo-poo the idea of like, I fought that battle and I fought it the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're not all, even if it's just something different of like, I was playing Call of Duty and you went left and I went right, and then I used a sniper rifle and you used a shotgun, and it's like, well, that's your own thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, nobody plays the game the exact same way. I guess, I mean, like, I can see cutscene heavy, right? Like, a lot of people didn't like Wolfenstein 2 because there was so much cutscene.
Yeah,
that there wasn't that it tended to like just and you know what? Let's you and I
argument about all the Metal Gear games.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, specifically 4.
I mean, like, hey, I like 4, but like, I get why people, and I understand why people don't like the amount of cutscene it has. I think they're a little hyperbolic about it, but I could definitely understand that, like, you know, when you play a game, it's like you want to play it. You don't want to just watch this movie that goes on for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Even though that movie is the end of the game,
really
and it's wrapping up a fucking 40-year, 30-year plot.
That's pretty long.
If it needs to be 90 minutes long, that's fine. That's fine. Don't play it. It's for me. He made it for me and not for you. So you just go play whatever you want to. I'll play Metal Gear.
I think my favorite meme after Kojima left Metal Gear is like, Kojima comes out with new innovative game that has no playing whatsoever, and it's just 2 hours of cutscenes. And it's like, it's just a movie.
I mean, I'll say that, like, what, level 1, level 2, act 1, act 2 of Metal Gear Solid 4, good.
Yeah.
Act 3, not so much.
It's I like it.
European one, and then act 4 is, you know, that's back to Shadow Moses. And then Act 5 is the big conclusion.
The Shadow Moses one is so good, guys.
Yeah.
Especially when you walk up to stuff and it like has the button for flashback stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You rock to the helicopter and you hit it, and it's just him flashing back to like see you in hell liquid.
Well, the fact that it's what, like, where they show him, like, you play the beginning of Metal Gear 1, and then he wakes up, and when he's asleep, it's like the old PS1 graphic, and then when he wakes up, it fades into the current gen graphics. And
you can unlock that outfit too, which I think is great too.
Anyway, this is off.
Metal Gear Solid 4 is great, guys.
We're off course here. But I mean, like, the thing is that I think that the most successful games do both, right? I obviously, like we were talking about with Breakpoint, I like a good story. So I need to be emotionally invested in using film and television techniques in order to get me invested in the storyline is a good shorthand to get me invested. Then once that's happened, then I can enjoy the gameplay more because it has more, like, pure gameplay doesn't work for me. But I also feel like a lot of maybe what this is talking about is there's a whole bunch of people that just think that modern video games are all garbage. Like, that there's just nothing, or like, I see this a lot. edging up against the Souls community, where it's like, once you've played Dark Souls, like every other game just is shit compared to Dark Souls, and I'm like, well, it's different. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
it's the story isn't given to you. You have to find the story, kind of thing. Which is, you know, if you like that sort of thing, that's fine. But sometimes I like, you know, playing The Last of Us and it giving me this very intricate story about humanity and a relationship with somebody, kind of thing. Or with Uncharted, like the idea of this action adventure, fun time thing with some deep stuff about a guy and his friendship with his friends, kind of thing. Or God of War that we just started.
Yeah,
it's this story about a man and his son and this crazy shit that they're gonna get into, kind of thing. Like, sometimes the story is what gets you going, kind of like, it's just what it is. Games do that. Like, they're not non-games because of it. Like Spider-Man has just as many cutscenes probably as some of those games, but it's not a non-game. It's fucking Spider-Man kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't understand the argument sometimes.
I don't really understand this argument that much either, to be honest. It just doesn't. I mean, without going into specifics, I think I looked up on my phone just like God of War, not a game, and I just found I found one article that was like 10 criticisms of God of War, and I read through it, and I was like, oh, those are legit. And then I read one that was just a giant bomb post of somebody saying that new God of War is going to be garbage. It hadn't even come out yet, and it was like, God of War is not supposed to be over the shoulder and slow. It's supposed to be top down and super fast and like combo. And it's like, well, it's not that game.
Yeah,
it's not that game. You know,
it's its own new trilogy.
If you go into the current God of War expecting old God of War, you're gonna have a bad time. Like,
absolutely,
it's not the same. So I don't know. I also the idea of on the internet, blah blah blah, non-video games. The idea of declaring what is or is not a video game to me is one of these fool's errands. It's all video games. The phone games, the shitty phone games, those are video games, and the AAA games are video games, and Elite Dangerous.
That's a tough argument. Like, if you actually had the closest thing to a non-video game to me are the visual novels that don't actually have anything going on in the middle of them. Like, they're just like, you click it and then it just sort of plays through. Like Ace Attorney to me is a video game because you're doing like a series of puzzles essentially in the middle of all of it. But you'll play a visual novel where it's just like nothing and maybe you get a choice, kind of thing. Those you can maybe see that way, but that's a maybe. And even then, it has something in it. It still has a game mechanic of some kind.
Yeah.
Like, it's like it's just what it is. Like, games are like, a game to me is just something that eventually has your interaction to it. Like, if it's literally a visual novel where you're not allowed to do anything, kind of thing, it's just you hit X and then eventually you would just watch the whole thing, then that's not a game, really. And even then, it still lets you hit the button.
Yeah, I see. The problem that I keep getting into is anytime, and if for my money, the way that I look at it is, once you postulate that there is a line to be drawn between what is a game and what is not a game, then you have to start talking about who gets to draw the line.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned,
and the answer is us. We get to draw that line.
I don't recognize the line because I don't want there to be a line, and I don't give a shit. Like, it doesn't insult me if, like, there were a long time ago on the website. Remember, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe like 3 years ago, there was this ESA report that came out that had all these charts and breakdowns of who played video games, and one of them was that like men and women were about 50-50 split between video games, and there was a narrative, not a narrative, but there was people that would basically say, even though I don't think it was in the data, even if it was, I don't give a shit. It was like, well, they're counting phone games, and that's why it's a 50-50 split. If they were only counting like console games or PC games, then it would be more of like a 70-30 split between men and women. And so they put their thumb on the scales to bullshit SJW equality. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's a phone game. I don't give a fuck if it's Mr. Game and Watch. Because once you start drawing the line, then you've given somebody else permission to essentially take away, to make a distinction. That everybody gets to draw the line differently, so the line becomes worthless, because some people are going to be like, any game that's less than 20 hours is not a video game. Any game where you have to
people make those arguments,
read text is video game. Any game that has loot boxes is not a video game. Any game that doesn't have where 40% of the gameplay is no more than 45% of the gameplay is interactive is not a video game. Everybody's going to draw the line where they want to.
Yeah, when I was in high school, there was an argument about the line essentially.
Yeah.
Because I was a guy who I considered myself a gamer, but I met a guy who also considered himself a gamer, but he played specifically sports games like FIFA and stuff.
Yeah.
And he called bullshit on me for my Final Fantasy stuff. And so I called bullshit on him for his FIFA stuff. And this argument went on for like an hour before we both realized this is stupid.
Yeah.
There's no line. We both play a game.
Yeah.
End of story.
Also, I tell you what, let's just real briefly before we wrap up here let's say that whoever said this is right. Let's say the people on the internet saying that Sony first-party exclusives like Uncharted and God of War are not video games. Well, I enjoy the fuck out of them. So it doesn't even really matter to me whether you say they're not video games. What are they? They're
interactive experiences or something.
Digital masturbation. Okay, cool. Whatever that is, sign me up for the newsletter and I'll take some of it to go because I like those games. And I like a lot of games. And it's more to me about, it comes back to the dumb thing that's happening in the film world right now about like, oh, are Marvel movies cinema?
Oh yeah.
And it's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Who cares whether Martin Scorsese? Who was it?
Francis Ford Coppola.
It's
the guy
like
who made Jack.
Like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck whether they think it's cinema? It doesn't. Do you like it? Then like it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if it's called cinema or butt sniff or like, I don't give a shit what it is because you can't take the sky from me, motherfucker. Like I gonna watch the Marvel movies and like them, and I don't give a two rats asses whether it is the cinema or like lowbrow entertainment for hillbilly yokels with no class. I don't give a fuck. I like it.
No.
So I can like both steak and hamburger, and I want them at different times for different reasons. I like surf and turf. And so, basically, whenever I read the Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola, it's the end of Labyrinth, where you have no power over me. Bye-bye. And these people are the same. I don't give a shit.
Push that spider down and beat it to death.
Yep. I just don't give a shit about your arbitrary distinction between what is real and what is not. I decide what is real. I'm not letting you decide what is real.
Look at me. I'm the captain now.
That's right. And on that happy note, we are ending another Rage Select podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks if you came out and saw us on Friday and you're listening to this. It's far too late at this point.
Far too late for that sort of thing.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm going to be getting some audio.
We may use it. Who knows?
I think if I'm going to say this. If I put it out, I'm going to put it out as just completely a bonus thing because you know what I hate, Michael? I hate it so much when you got a podcast that you listen to every week, and then this week it's like, oh, live from San Francisco. It's the live recording, and I'm like, no, go to the studio, you lazy shits. So, anyway, go check out Michael at oneofus.net, patreon.com/Rage Select. I'm going to go buy a whole assorted bag of Halloween candy, and I'm going to eat it all, and I'm going to die.
It's all candy corn, though.
Thank you.
That's the horror twist.
That's not candy. I declare it to not be candy. I'm the arbiter of candy now. That's not even candy.